going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Down Unders. Let us know if the stream is running really nicely on my screen. It is, so hopefully it all runs very well for you guys. We got Brody again, as we always do here on a Wednesday, guys. Brody, how you doing? The brand new Doggies jersey you got there, mate. You're looking smick as, brother.
Thank you, my brother. I made sure I jumped on that straight away, and I can't believe how quick it came. Like, honestly, they're making the jerseys pretty thin these days, so I guess it's pretty easy to pump out. But the O'Neill's jersey, I definitely like it. I like the color look, the seams. Yeah, everything's looking pretty gravy on this jersey. I can't complain.
I love how they've incorporated the laundry group. You know, don't want to tip your camera too far low, brother. I think a lot of people
I don't have pants on.
Sign up. They'll sign up for OnlyFans or something in this one, bro. But I love how they incorporate
whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes, bro. Shoot us to the moon, baby. Shoot us to the moon. But I love how they incorporated the laundry group logo there. Like it fits really well. You know, the white, the way they've outlined it and all that sort of stuff. I love that jersey, bro. It's a sick ass jersey. Jose, good to see you in the chat, my bro.
It's still weird that it's a throwback and they've got like KFC on the back, and I'm like, bro, the KFC wasn't around like 90 years ago, but sure. Bro,
does your seat swivel? Spin around. Show us the KFC. Show us the back of it. Don't show us your ass though. Bro, that's gangster. That's it. It's got the, was that 90 on the back of it too? The 90.
Yeah, bro, the 90 years. Yeah. And there's got some like, oh, where did I see the writing? Might be on the back. There's some like writing on the shoulders.
Oh, yeah.
I actually didn't read what it says, but
you can't really see it on stream, but like, yeah, I'm going to say it's there. Is that like all names maybe?
Yeah, it's like, I think it's names of like, it's got, oh, fuck, I don't know, bro. Tom Carey, Jack someone, I don't know. Must be like the creators of the jersey or like throwbacks to guys that were part of the team back there.
Has it got Jack Todd's name from the weekend's trial or?
Oh, bro, it should. I mean, in another 90 years, bro, he will be on one. Put it that way. That dude's a freak.
Oh, bro, guys, appreciate you all coming in. Obviously, this is the way we kind of want to run down unders at the moment too. You know, we're coming into the season. We're done our previews. Let's just talk some shit, talk some footy, talk about some of the news coming out. And also, guys, and also, guys, if you are also... You're coming here tonight. It is a joint stream. We won't have a Supercoach show tomorrow night due to other commitments and stuff. We wanted to put it all together tonight. So we will be reviewing 4 sides tonight. There's 4 sides that have been sent through to me. There's been more than that. I want to do 4 sides tonight and another 4 sides next week. So guys, if there's any sides that I've missed out on this week, make sure you tune in next week to do it. We got everyone that I want to see in the chat that we're going to do. So we got Jose's team. We got Tan's team. We have Tahi's team, and we got Lexi's team. So get excited for that. That's going to be later on in the live stream, guys. So make sure you hang around for that. If not, make sure you rejoin, after the stream's finished, and check out our thoughts around your side and that. But brother, how you feeling after the weekend? You know, the Doggies got for a really nice trial. Obviously, you ran out your complete second unit, all your junior based side out there against the Tigers, who look fairly decent with their junior side as well. What did you take out of the trial that you saw? Because I know you caught the second half of that trial. You obviously would have seen a lot of Jack Todd's good work, Cassius Tia, a lot of good signs there for the Doggies for the future, right? Yeah,
100%. Like as soon as Tigers actually took off most of their first unit. I mean, they did start, fairly strong with Galvin and everything like that. But I'm pretty impressed that they didn't get out to too much of a lead. So it's good to see the Doggies base is still there based on defense, even all the way through our junior system. And then once it was like, second squad versus second squad, we just come away with that pretty easy. We started eating up the meters in that second half. But yeah, impressed, bro. Nonetheless, like I said, Jack Todd, Jack Underhill, those guys that we re-signed recently in the week, you could see that that meant a lot to them because they just killed it on the weekend. It means our future's bright. Pretty keen on that. Look, couldn't be happier. This weekend, we're named a bit more of a full-strength squad against the Broncos' full-strength squad. Again, it's still a trial. I'm not too worried about how it turns out, how it pans out. But, a win's a win. If we get one, I'll be happy with it. There's nothing better than beating the Broncos.
Yeah, I know you absolutely adore beating the Broncos, and especially to start off their season, had a massive win against the Titans with their B-side squad. You just want to ruin the hopes of them when they bring their top squad in and give them a good old thrashing before the season, don't you?
Shout out to Lockie with the thrashing before the season.
Oh, shout out to Lockie, my brother. It was good. We were hoping to get Lockie on next week, guys, for our full predictions. We're going to do a full prediction next Wednesday, me and Brody. So give you our lockdown ladder for next year in daily and predictions, stuff like that. So we're going to do that next week, guys. So make sure you tune into that next week. And we're going to try and get a mate of ours on, but unfortunately, due to obviously he's got kids and stuff like that, he was unable to do so. But I've told him to send through his predictions as well. And guys, feel free if you want to comment down below your predictions and that. I'm happy to read those out on the live as well. But again, thank you so much, guys, for coming through. Good to see everyone here. Tans, obviously, always jumping in. Jazz, good to see ya. Jacka here, good to see you. Guys, we may as well touch on the brand new news coming into today. A really, really tough one, obviously, overall. We have Cam Murray, suspected ruptured Achilles at training. And it doesn't get better for the Rabbitohs as well, because within the same period, Latrell Mitchell having a hamstring niggle. We're unsure how bad that is. From rumors, they're hoping it's a minor, which would be a couple of weeks. But the big one there, Cam Murray, brother, ruptured Achilles, suspected ruptured Achilles. They're still waiting on scans, but it is not looking good. What's your thoughts there?
Yeah, look, big loss. South's captain, straight off the bat. I mean, and then the experience that guy brings, the leadership that guy brings. Yeah, look, a big blow for the Bunnies already, and we haven't even hit round one yet. So, right. Keon will probably move into the middle, since that was Wayne Bennett's, dealing last year. Before he even came to the club, and that's going to be good for Supercoach for Keon, but yeah, for Rabbits nonetheless, it just weakens their edge back rower attack option just that little bit. So yeah, big miss. Cam Murray, quality player. He's a guy that you want at your club. So that's a big miss alone. Let alone Trell already carrying an injury into the season. Like whether he's fit to play round one or not, it's always going to be in the back of your mind, right? That Latrell's potentially going to be injured. And I know it's already got you worried, Supercoach wise, like, oh, do I run with Latrell, or am I going to be burning a trade after week one? So, yeah, it's scary times. You don't want to be a Bunnies fan already.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely a lot of questions up in the air at the moment. And to me, like, does this hurt your thoughts around the Rabbitohs coming to the season, or is the Wayne Bennett effect just the whole thing of like, that's my thought with the Rabbitohs coming to the season. I think Wayne Bennett, just as the coach that he is, I don't see him missing the 8 with the side that he's got on paper still, even with Cam Murray and that being out. It's going to be a little bit tougher than first expected for him being out for the majority of the season. But do you see maybe where you're sitting the Rabbitohs right now, do you see them dropping out of that a little bit for you at the moment with Cam Murray obviously gone for a season by the looks of it, if it is true, and Latrell starting off the season, if he's going to continue having these niggles, where's your thoughts at with the Rabbitohs this season? Do you think Wayne Bennett effect will just take over everything?
Look, if both are out, I think they slide out of the 8. If one's out, I still think they can make the 8. And both for different reasons. It's not one. If Latrell's out, I'm going to write them off the exact same as if Murray's out, because they both bring different things. They both add to their attack. Murray's actually probably more important because he adds to their attack and defense more so than just Latrell that adds to their attack. Jai Gray's solid enough to probably cover most of Latrell's work except for like the try assist end. Whereas like Murray, like nobody picks up that quick play the ball speed that he brings. Nobody picks up playing 80 minutes, getting through the work and defense. So like Murray's probably a bigger miss than Latrell, in my opinion, at this point. Especially, when we've seen defense win games now. And that's the key point. And the Rabbits struggle with defense as it is, let alone missing someone like Cam Murray. So yeah, to answer your question, pretty much it does worry me. If I was a South fan, it worries me that they'll be already pushing shit uphill to make that 8. There's a lot of other sides that are going to be striving for that. And as we spoke about it at work the other day, it's kind of like a top 4. You can kind of see already settled. And then that, that 5 to 8 range, is pushing against that 9 to 12 range. That 9 to 12 range, in our opinion, is the only ones that can jump into that 8 and knock off some of those top 8. But that bottom 4, in our opinion, and that top 4 is kind of sealed already. I know that's hard to say because anything can happen, but yeah.
Completely agree, bro. And like, you know, I think that the signings that they brought over, they can probably help in that area, but they haven't got a Cam Murray replacement. You know, I don't think there is a Cam Murray replacement in rugby league.
Ruben Cotter maybe, but
Ruben Cotter, maybe, yeah. It's just like, you know, Cam Murray, just the quick playable speed he gets to the middle. He's got that beautiful ball playing in the middle as well. Just a tireless defender, plays decent minutes. And, you know, just looking at players that they've obviously brought in for 2025, as we discussed with our preseason preview, Ewan Aikens come in with an injury this season, so we won't see too much of him. Lockie Hubner is there as well in case they want to keep Keon on the edge back row on the right-hand side. I probably predict, just like you, Keon's probably going to come into that 13 and play more of a middle role now. They got Josh Schuster there, but all accounts apparently from what I'm hearing is Josh Schuster's not settled at the Roosters, at the Rabbitohs right now, which surprises me. Out of all the coaches in the league, if they can't get the best, like if Wayne Bennett can't get the best out of you, then I don't think rugby league, like the NRL, is where you should be. Right?
See you later.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So that, like, you know, bringing over Josh Schuster probably would have helped that sort of look. Obviously, having an edge back row there, pushing Keon to the middle. I don't see anyone else really. You know, as I said, Ewan Aikens out for a little bit. It's a weird time for Rabbitohs fans, and especially coming off the year they had last year with the amount of injuries they had off last year. Just like, I feel like Rabbitohs fans seeing this again is like, oh, again, are you serious? Like, when do we get over this?
Yeah, well, that's exactly right, brother. It's spot on. Like, yeah, you recruited decent enough, but like you said, nobody's going to replace Cam Murray, let alone add Latrell's injury on top of that. Like, Jai Gray will do the job, don't get me wrong, but you're not scared about Jai Gray, like, running himself at the end of the day. Nah. You know, you're expecting him to pass out to his center wing, whereas Latrell, you need to watch the run, the pass, the kick. You know, you got to watch all of that.
And like, yeah, obviously moving over from, so Cam Murray, massive drop. Latrell, as I said before, it sounds like a minor hamstring issue. If it does end up becoming a thing, like, you know, also you got Cody Walker coming into the season with a calf niggle.
Yep.
So there's a lot of other things in the air. Would you see that Jai Gray probably steps in for Latrell Mitchell in that fullback jersey to start the season? From all accounts too, from what I'm hearing, for Cody Walker's replacement is Bud Sullivan leading the charge right now. Because they want to have Jamie Humphries as more of that 14 to utility sort of role. But first of all, Jai Gray, he's stepping up for you in that fullback jersey to start the season for the Rabbitohs. Yeah. And how do you see that happening?
100%. Like I said, he adds just as much as attack to the Rabbits offense. He's no Latrell. That's not what I'm saying. Latrell's got the tackle break ability, that aura where you need to worry about what he's going to do, the cutout pass. Jai Gray adds just, you know, the speed to beat his man on the edge and create that space still for his outside men. But, you know, Latrell's got all of that and more. But that's just experience. You know, Jai Gray will do the job, but you worry a little less when you don't see Latrell on the team list. Let's be real. As for like Cody Walker's replacement, Bud Sullivan, he hasn't had too much success at the Dragons or the Tigers. I would probably lean more towards Humphries, but, you know, I haven't seen how they've trained. I know Wayne Bennett's obviously seen something in Bud, and hopefully he can do the job. You know, he's shown ability to do the job, but just not consistently. Rabbits, look, you're already pushing shit uphill, and I would hate to be a Rabbits fan.
Mate, and to add with that, obviously, you know, we didn't get a touch on it because we did a lot of our previews and that, but Campbell Graham, obviously re-breaking his hand or sustaining a broken hand as well. So he's out for the first, or at least for the first couple of rounds. I think he's out for 4 to 6 weeks, and that was on February 4th. So I think the last time I heard he was in tune for getting into round 1, but I think that might have been pushed out now too. So starting the season with, like, you know, everyone was so excited to see a lot of these guys back in their jersey and them to start the season hot with Wayne Bennett there. I think Rabbitohs fans got a little bit more to wait now before they see that team, you know, rejuvenate with a lot of side. And obviously no Cam Murray this year if everything goes the way it's supposed to go, which is so sad. So I feel sorry for Rabbitohs fans out there. But, you know, Wayne Bennett, he's got the magic. So we'll have to wait and see, right?
Well, that's exactly right. But yeah, you know, you've probably trained Whiten at centre all preseason, and now, you know, you're potentially chucking him into 5'8" again if Walker's out, or, you know, if Bud Sullivan doesn't work out. But then you got no Campbell Graham back, you know, so you're already like, oh, well, if Campbell Graham was back, you could run him and Tass as centres, but then you got AJ out. Like, they just got headaches already, and it's not what you want before you even reach round 1.
No, definitely not. And sticking on injury news, going around the league, we'll move over to your doggies. Really unfortunate news because I think Jacob Kraz was an incredible player for you guys last year. He was pushing for Winger of the Year sort of, nominations there too. So, him coming in, obviously hampered with a back injury, which is really, really sad to see. I think, it said that Gus has come out and said that he won't be back for round one. Your thoughts there, and also, they have another guy that obviously they got Blake Wilson that's probably going to cover that spot, but your other backup, Anari Tuala, is out with injury as well. Unfortunately, I'm pretty sure he broke his foot or something like that, right? I could be wrong there, but I know he's out as well. So are you getting a little bit worried there with a little bit of depth there? You got Marcelo Montoya now, you got Blake Wilson, but you got these young kids that you saw over the weekend. They got a lot of potential too, like Jonathan Sewer. How are you feeling with the doggies coming to the season? I know it's a little bit light with Karaz not being there, but Marcelo Montoya should pick up a little bit of slack.
Yeah, look, Karaz is going to be a big miss. The work he gets through, the threat he is on the wing, in the air, bro, in defense, everything that Jacob Karaz produced last year is going to be missed. Don't get me wrong. It sucks losing Skelton now. The more I look at it, not Addo-Carr, Skelton. I don't really care about Addo-Carr. But Blake Wilson, shout outs to him. He's ready for NRL. I'm glad we've still got him. He could make NRL in any other team, in my opinion. The ability is shown already. So I'm glad that he gets the crack. It sucks that it's at the cost of Jacob Karaz, but depth-wise, I think we're all sweet, and then Montoya coming over, he's going to be solid. So depth-wise, yeah, we're all right. If we get another one or two injuries to the wings or outside backs, then I'll start to worry a little bit.
Yeah, and as Tahi's just pointed out here, broken foot for Anari Tuala, round 10 return. So very, very sad news there as well, because I love Anari. I thought it was a really good depth signing for you guys, but it's just, as I said before, it's a rejuvenation of these young boys coming in to the lineup. Brother, I got to skip out for 2 seconds. Apparently, our washing machine has just flooded a little bit of the house. So I'm just going to run off for just a quick second. But feel free, bounce off with the chat, guys. Guys, if you got any questions for Brodie, it won't be too long. I'll be back in probably about, a couple of minutes or whatever. I just need to sort this out and hopefully it goes well. But yeah, any questions for Brodie, make sure you chuck them in the chat. Brodie's got his chat up on his phone, so it might take a little bit. It might be a little bit of a delay before you answer your questions. But if you want to touch on before, obviously I'm going out, Thomas Hazelton, he's been shopped around by a couple of teams at the moment. The Newcastle Knights wanting in for him. I heard the Dolphins wanting in for him. Now the New Zealand Warriors are becoming the new side that is in for him. And apparently we've jumped a lot of sides there to take him over. I'm going to let you run with this before I come back and give you my thoughts there. Thomas Hazelton, is he an option for the Warriors, or would you prefer him maybe obviously getting a bigger starting role with the Newcastle Knights, stuff like that, which he probably won't get with New Zealand Warriors with Barnett and Fisher Harris? So I'll let you run with that, all right?
All goods, bro. All goods. Yeah, look, I guess Hazelton, well, Waz fans in the chat, what do you think about Hazelton? Would you like him off the bench? Would you like him starting? Would you like him at your club at all? For me, Tommy Hazelton, well, he's proved to be a bit of a weapon for the Sharks off the bench. I really think once he comes on, you can push Barnett to that back row, or you just swap him straight for Fish. But yeah, for me, he would be a great signing. He's shown so much ability already. He's such a young talent. He's got years in the game to still improve. James Fisher-Harris, he'll play about the first 30 as he did at the Panthers, then get subbed out. And then, Barnett can move to that lock forward role anyway. And as good as Dylan Walker is, I think his time's running a bit short with all the guns you guys have got coming through at the Wars. But let me know what you think. Hosea, yeah, definitely. I think he's definitely a try-scoring threat. And I'm not going to say he's Adam Fanua Blake, but last year he was probably one of the fronties that led try-scoring through the front row. And Wade Egan, man, he's silky enough to create him some space straight off the ruck. But yeah, it's Tommy Hazelton for sure. I'll take him at the Doggies, so I don't see why you guys wouldn't. Hazelton is a different type and be a point of difference. So yeah, sign him. Yeah, reasonable money for sure. So you guys got a fair bit of cash left over from Tohu Harris. I definitely think you guys could sell on Tommy Hazelton for a lot cheaper than you guys had Tohu on. So, you'd still have some cap space after that as well. Rather give your own boys a run. Yeah, I agree, brother. Don't get me wrong, but he's still young. It's not like he's going to come, grab the money, and then fuck off. I definitely think Tommy Hazelton is a guy that you can hold on to long term, and that can build in a club. Whereas Dylan Walker, for me, look, he's good. He's going to do the job for you guys off the bench, but what more he has to offer for you guys around someone like Sifakola, signing Tommy Hazelton, Jacob Laban. I'd rather probably invest more so in those guys than hold on to someone like Dylan Walker. Tommy Hazelton, Jacko, he's pretty young. I believe he's still in his early 20s. He just looks old. Old Gallen calls him the 40-20 because he looks 40, but he's around his 20s. So, but we need to cement other positions first in centers and wings. Jazzy, you're 100% right, brother, but, you still got to replace someone like Tohu. And I'm not saying Tommy Hazelton could do that, but it's definitely a step in the right direction. It's a weird choice, Tane, but also our bench improves too. Yeah, I know he looks old, Jacko, 100%. You don't have to spend the cap by any time, Tans. You can spend that anytime, brother. You could sign somebody next year. You could just run with the cap a little bit less on than you've got at the moment. So yeah, you don't need to spend your cap by any means. You could even just use it to re-sign your boys on a better wicket. Other than that, Supercoach trades I've made this week so far. I've decided to trade out Reed Marnie. More so for the fact that I could get Blakey Brayley a lot cheaper. I love the work that he got through on the weekend, especially with somebody like Ads now in his forward pack that, can score a try. So that's going to add to Blakey Brayley's game of potentially snagging a try assist. I've also traded out Nico Hines. I didn't like the fact that he's already carrying groin niggling injuries and given up goal kicking and stuff like that. So I've traded him out for someone like Mitchell Moses, who I think the Eels looked really good on the weekend without Moses. So I decided that he might bag some points already early season and hit the ground running, especially because he missed a lot of footy last year. He'll definitely, hopefully, be in for a big season that's injury-free. I traded out Payne Haas as well, even though he's named round one this week. I just have my doubts. I liked Ash's approach of going a bit lighter in that forward pack and freeing up money elsewhere. That's how I got Mitchell Moses as well. And Ash is back, so we'll touch more onto that Supercoach later on.
Brother, I'm only back for a little bit. It's a lot worse than I thought. It's like proper flooding. But feel free to run for a little bit. How confident are you to continue to run on at the moment?
All sweet, brother. The chat's keeping me interested.
All right, beautiful. All right, if I'm not back within, I'll come back if everything, all that sort of stuff, and we're finishing off. But yeah,
just switch it off, bro. Just switch it off. Turn your water off at under the sink.
Yeah. We've like, everything's switched off. It's all stops. It's just the amount of water that's come all the way through. It's like come pretty far up through.
All right, get on the mop and bucket, brother, and send us a video. Make sure Taya posts one in the comments.
Bro, she's beside herself at the moment. All right, I'll see you soon. I'll be
all
back.
Goods, mate. All goods. Jose, I thought Marnie would be a set and forget. Look, brother, he is. But as we touched on a bit last week, Reed Marnie scores well at the start of the season, and then he starts to drop off, and that's probably due to the workload he gets through. He starts to get a bit fatigued, especially in the shoulders, considering he does a lot of work on Supercoach through his defense. Blakey Brayley was about 50 grand cheaper off the top of my head. I can't open my Supercoach and keep the Waz chat as it is. So I'm just going to make sure that, Blakey Brayley saved me a lot of money. That's why I also went with him. Jacko, rumors true, Marnie was shopped around by the Dogs. Seems unbelievable. Look, who knows, brother? The media is a little bit dry at the moment because of preseason. It wouldn't surprise me if they're just trying to drum up a story. As you've seen, I don't know if you follow much doggies pages or anything like that. Probably not, but I follow a few. And Gus is quick to answer anybody's comments on Twitter, on Instagram. So I don't believe that. Everything I've seen, like in the members' pages, all the members' content, Reed Marnie is all amongst the group. Doesn't seem like, not anybody's going to say a bad thing about him anyway, I guess, if it's under wraps. But there's no signs there of Reed Marnie being unhappy or the Dogs being unhappy with Reed Marnie. So I think that's a little bit of bogus just to drum up a story. Ash ain't a good plumber, it seems. Nah, Ash is definitely not a good plumber. It wouldn't surprise me if he's holding the torch for his missus, to be honest. Thanks, Tahi, bro. I appreciate it. Right, washing machines are not an area of interest, unfortunately. I traded about 40 tons, bro. You're not the only one, man. I've tossed up my team a lot recently since the trial started. I didn't buy into Ash's tactics too much about stressing about it until round 1 team list. But now that I haven't seen, you know, Corey Horsburgh play any trials or anything like that, I'm a little bit worried. Hosier, no, it's not interesting to me at all, brother, that Zion wasn't named for us this week. I'm really not. More so for the fact that our team was solid enough last year. So I'm pretty keen to continue for the Doggies to roll on with the team that they kind of finished the season with last year. And, you know, the signings of the depth of, you know, Zion, Fafita that played on the weekend, he played really well, and Tom Marmone, all that's going to do is make the guys play better in that first grade squad to keep their position. You know, some healthy competition, some healthy depth. It's really good signs for the Doggies. So I'm pretty keen for Zion to work his way into that team. There's no stress for him to be named straight away. So I'm not too stressed about that at all. I'm not too worried that he won't get a crack at some point in the season. So that's no problem there. He will get his shot, especially if we do have a couple of injuries. Just keep talking as if you're with the boys and girls at work. Bro, at work, I have to supervise everybody at work, so I just chat shit all day. You won't catch me being like the hard-ass boss at all. Got any news on Ola Pawatu? No, brother, I don't, GT. I don't have any news on him, but funny enough, I did play with his brother at Northlakes probably 5-6 years ago, maybe a little bit longer. His brother still does a lot of training as the Cyril Connell's coach there, which is under 16s Dolphins. So it wouldn't surprise me if he looks to go home. I hope not. You know, the Doggies have a bit of a rare one there, and I'm glad that he's still in our top 30. I just hope that he bounces back from that neck injury, brother. That's the only thing that's got me worried. Not so much about like what he can provide the club, but just more so for his health. You know, he hasn't even really got a good crack yet at first grade, and now he's got that neck injury to deal with. But look, if he goes to the Finns, man, good on him. I'm glad that if that is the case, you know, he'll get the nod over a couple of those other guys, in my opinion, like Sullivan. But him and Katoa in the halves could be deadly for the Dolphins, especially with the backline that they have in Herbie, the Hammer, Alvarello, all that sort of stuff. So, look, I wouldn't be mad. I'd just be happy to see that he's getting a good crack and that he'd be healthy. Wouldn't that be a dumbass move to get rid of Reed Marnie? Yeah, definitely, brother. I couldn't agree more, especially, you know, when there's not too many hookers out there at the moment. You know, the Dragons got Jacob Liddell and Damien Cook. But, you know, Cookie's probably got not too many more years in him. The Cowboys have locked up Reece Robson now for next year onwards. You know, the Broncos have got like 4 or 5 hookers to choose from, one of them recently signing to England. But yeah, the talent pool for hookers at the moment is pretty thin. It's not as thin as halfbacks, but it's pretty thin. So to lose someone like Reed Marnie would hurt the Doggies in the steps forward. Tahi, bro, Zion needs to prove he has a motor to make it. Yeah, look, 100%. The Doggies standard, I'm not saying the Warriors standard's bad, but the Doggies standard is fitness. You know, we're not too worried about size, and that showed last year. We ran into a lot of games being a much smaller pack, but it's all about heart, effort, and fitness. So to get into that team, I'm sure he's going to need to work on that, and there's nothing better than, you know, New South Wales Cup to prove that and get that fitness under him. I've seen Gus come out and say that's the reason that Tom Mamone and David Fafita wasn't named this week in our trial. He wanted to play them in New South Wales Cup to get a lot more minutes under their belt that they wouldn't get in first grade this week. So that's all that really is. It's just strategic to get that development coming through. Hosier, who is your second team this year? Another team you want to do well, doesn't have to be the Wars. Nah, it's definitely not the Wars, Hosier. Sorry, Tan. Sorry, Jazzy. But it's not the Waz. For me, the second team to do well, look, Dolphins, I guess, because they're close by. But other than that, it's the Dragons still. It'll always be the Dragons just because of the old man. He loves the Dragons. I hope that they do well. They bounce back for him. He's lost a lot of hope for the Dragons over the last few years with how disappointing they've been. And now that I'm not playing this year, he's going to be even more disappointed that he doesn't have something to hold on to. So hopefully the Dragons can pick that slack back up for him and make him stay interested in love with the game since I'm not playing. Tahibo. True, Alvarado was originally half. Yes, brother, that is correct. When he first came through the doggies had him as a half. Tried him as a half, didn't go too well. They moved him into the fullback role. And now he's moved to the center since. Look, he's got enough talent. I think he's just got to find his spot. That's all that really comes down to. We know Chaz is stirring. Yeah, but you're one of the bros too, Tans. All right, true. Tans is one of the... All right, cool. Anybody got any other chats? Definitely throw that up. I didn't expect to be running solo, so keep me entertained, keep me talking. I'll happily just monitor the chat. Other than that, other changes I've made on Supercoach this week. I actually traded out Greg Marju. I don't know if Ash got in my head, but I've decided to free up some cash there. I'll quickly check who I ran with, so I can't see the chat at this stage, but I will jump back into that real quick. Off the top of my head, I traded him out for... I traded Marju out for Marcelo Montoya. Especially now with the injuries to Karaz, I thought that the doggies would favour that left side a lot more. So I decided to free that cash up to bank some cash there. Now I've got Cleary, Moses, Walker, and Metcalf all in my halves, scoring big points there. I've still got Tino named. I've seen that he is on the bench this week, but I'm interested to potentially trade him out and if he doesn't get that starting role round one. So we'll see what happens there. And Ash is back to save the day.
How you feeling, Vala? You obviously getting more accustomed to the boys there in the chat?
Yeah, bro, just working off the chat.
The boys and the ladies, guys. I'm so sorry. Yeah.
No, Jazzy, bro. Moment. No, Jazzy, not at all, bro. The was. Look, I love Ash, and I love the was for Ash, and I want to see them do well, but they ain't my second team.
He's an Aussie boy at heart, Jazzy. We can't take that away from him. So, but yeah, he definitely supports the boys when he's around with me, but definitely not his second. Actually, what is your second team?
The Dragons, brother. Just for dad.
Yeah, for your dad. Yep, that makes sense. All right, bro. What were you touching on currently? So Thomas Hazelton, did you get through that sort of your thoughts around Thomas Hazelton?
Yeah. So
for me, like,
go through your thoughts.
Yeah, for me, like, I don't think it's a urgent, like, we need Thomas Hazelton anyway. Like, if we get him, I hope it's for a good cost. It's nothing that's going to blow the absolute bank, because I do trust in our juniors we got coming through. I think that, it didn't really make sense to me too. Like, we offloaded Zion Ma'u. I think that probably Hazelton and Ma'u fairly, like, I think Hazelton maybe at the moment looks like he has a better ceiling, but we don't know about Zion because his potential's high. It feels weird to replace, like, we were looking for outside backs and now we're looking at Thomas Hazelton. And guys, we're saying this too, it would be to, at 2026 he would come over. So it's not for this year either. There probably would be interest in maybe getting him over early if that was the case. For me at the moment, as I said before, I'm not looking at him going, we need him 100%. Yes. I'm like looking at it as like, I'll take him, but it depends on the cost, right?
Well, I like the signing, especially because it's going to be like probably half of what Tohu was on, so you're still going to have money there for an outside back. Losing Zion as well is what I touched on. And, Dylan Walker, for me, you could probably force his hand to find another club next year or potentially retire. I don't know how much more he's got to offer the Wars with all the injuries he's got. Don't get me wrong, he's a good player, but someone like Thomas Hazelton on the table, you could bring him in and push Barnett back to that 13 role and your team gets so much stronger. And the try scoring ability he shows isn't Adam Fanua-Blake, like, don't get me wrong, but last year he was up there for tries with Adam Fanua-Blake in the prop role. So Wade Egan would love a big body like that. So that's where I could see the benefits, but you're 100% right. I wouldn't go and move heaven and earth to grab him. But for sure. Like if you could upgrade to him, push Walker out, you lose Walker, Tohu, and Zion, and replace someone like Tommy Hazelton in there, plus your juniors coming through. That's a pretty big win.
Yeah. Like for me, I'd love to have like Walker for till obviously falls apart, right? But we got to kind of preempt that as well, as you said. Like, he is getting long in the tooth, like as an age wise. I think he's still performing to a good ability. Preseason, he looked really fit, ready to go. Looks like he's taking a leadership role with the Warriors. So for me, it's not so much pushing Walker out, but I see where you're coming from to where like, replacement for Walker when he does leave, Hazelton is, I think, around the 20, let me double check that.
The boys are
26 years old.
Yeah,
26 years old. So he's still fairly young. He's probably like, if he continues on his upwards trajectory, he could probably play till he's 32. So that's another 6 years in the league. So definitely a little bit of time that we could have with him there. And hopefully if he does come, he can fulfill his potential, because I think a lot of people see it. Just a big body, moves fairly well, and as you said, can score tries. The only thing that worries me with him as well, usually with bigger bodies, takes a little bit longer for them to move side to side defensively, and I feel like we've got a really good balance like that this year. But then again, you do also need different size of bodies. I don't think we have that massive, prop coming out of the back end. We've got some boys that got good size, but Hazelton would definitely add to that, especially attacking wise, if we do need a little bit of a hand out our own end, right?
100%. Like, the ability is shown already with such low experience in the NRL. If you guys got him into a system like yours, I feel like he would move heaven and earth for you guys and would be a good signing. But again, you don't go out of your way to sign him. If he wants to come, he wants to come. I wouldn't start throwing big dollars at him to lure him in.
Nah. And that's what kind of made me think about this whole thing. As soon as I heard we were jumping ahead, I was like, Like the first thing when I first heard that he was going to come to New Zealand and just check out the facilities and stuff, I was just like, when I look at it, the Newcastle Knights are going to be offering him a starting front rower role for me. Anyway, just looking at that squad, Leo Thompson's leaving for you guys, so he's going to fill out that sort of role there for me. The Dolphins were probably looking at doing something fairly similar because they've got a really aging front rower pack. Obviously, Flegler's yet to come back, whether he does come back. Tom Gilbert could fill in that role there too. They got Saifidi and that they come over, but they also got players like Mark Nichols and stuff that are definitely long in the tooth. Felice Kafusi that they'll probably want to replace there too. So they could probably throw him the whole, you're going to get decent minutes with us. Where with the Warriors, he's going to be a bench forward like he is with the Sharks for me at the moment. So I don't see him being any other. Like I'll have Aaron Clark in at 13 and our two boys up front. I prefer that over having obviously Hazelton in that up front and Barnett at 13. Even though Barnett can play a good 13, I just like the way that our leg speed for the middle is going to be real nice. Very similar to the way the doggies play. You know what I mean? I don't think we need a big body right now.
Yeah, I completely agree, brother, unless they're looking at potentially moving Barnett to an edge. But
yeah,
again, you got juniors coming through to cover that, but healthy competition is great to have. I got a couple of questions before about, am I worried about Zion? I'm not worried. Is it interesting that Zion didn't get a starting role with us? And I said, no, not at all, because, our season and our team was pretty good last year. I'm happy that they're running ahead with that. Those guys have earned their spot. It's up to these other guys to put that pressure on, that healthy competition to break in. So Tom Armone for Feeder, they're playing New South Wales Cup this week to get a lot more minutes and to continue to show what they got. And they might crack that squad, especially with a couple of injuries. So, happy as.
That's why I was very curious on the Zion move from Zion's point of view. Obviously, it came out that he was hunting for a bigger role. But with the Dogs, even you guys are sturdy with your forward pack at the moment. I know there's obviously a lot of talk on you guys want to build up your forward pack, maybe a couple of bigger bodies, but everyone that's doing a job there is doing an amazing job last year. You added to that, and then you got two younger kids Underhill and Jack Todd that have got a lot of potential as well. That could possibly jump him in the pecking order. So it is definitely a big risk for Zion to move over to you guys as well. So that kind of threw up the whole thing of he moved to you guys for a bigger deal or bigger offer, but when I ran through the top 30, that was set and everything like that. I was like, I don't know what bigger option he has there than what he had with us as well. I think we're both in similar sort of, development wise, we're both in similar sort of things with Zion. I don't think I see him in your top 17 this year. I think he's going to be a cup front rower, and maybe with injuries, he'll find his way there. I don't know. You know what I mean? Yeah,
I completely agree, brother. But, it's also a strategic move just to get to Sydney. You got probably 8 clubs within 2-hour trip. That's going to bring him a lot more exposure than it is at the Wars. A lot of teams probably won't even chase a lot of players from the Wars just for the simple fact that it is a lot of hassle. You got to offer them a little bit more to get them over here, yada, yada, yada. Whereas if he's already in the doggy system playing good New South Wales Cup, it's not going to be hard for him to move 2 hours down the road. You don't need to chuck that bit of extra money to get him to move down the road.
Yeah, that could open up an opportunity too, because there was rumors that he was in chats with the Newcastle Knights before that too. So you're 100% right there. He could get more exposure being over Australia, for those sort of moves later on in the future. So probably a smart move on that sort of end for him. But still, if he's looking for like straight away, if he's going to get a starting role, I don't think it's happening right now with the Doggies. But similar to Thomas Hazelton, if he moves to us, I don't see him with a starting role at the moment anyway. If there's injuries, maybe, but there's opportunity there, right?
100%. There always opportunity due to injuries.
Yeah, 100%, bro. And moving over to another front row looking at moving around, it's just come out that Clemmer is likely to move to the Dragons. It could be effective immediately as well. And St. George Illawarra will give the West Tigers a war chest of up to $1 million to add further to the expansion roster overhaul. If there is no way that better be well off that news. I'm reading this on the Sydney Herald right now. Why Clemmer is likely Dragons move could give Tigers $1 million war chest. Like that
is that over a couple of years, or
is that maybe more so opening up his contract to the Tigers? Obviously, he must have been on a big deal with the Tigers. I forgot what deal he was on with the Tigers from memory.
I don't know what he was on at the Tigers, but I don't think Clemmer's ever been on $1 million, and I don't think Clemmer has ever been worth $1 million. He played his best footy at the Doggies, and since then it's been downhill. And that wasn't even the best footy at the Doggies, let's be honest. David Clemmer does not interest me anymore in signings. And if I was the Dragons, the experience they have picked up still has a bit to offer, in Cookie, Gutho, and Holmes. Clemmer, to me, doesn't have anything to offer, and that's a silly move.
And Gus Harris here in the chat, Clem is on $700K. So that's probably what this is more alluding to, is the Tigers freeing up $700K of that contract, which I think is an amazing move for the Tigers to push that off his books, right? And then, the Dragons, I really don't understand that move. I understand they want experience maybe to build up for the juniors and that, but sometimes with too much experience or players like this, I don't think it's not a tipping point for me for the Dragons to be like, oh, that's a great move to the future. Like, I like what they've got there already with Valentine Holmes and, Gufferson. They're like really hardworking. Valentine Holmes has touched premiership glory as well. Gutho's been to grand finals. He's been to the big stage as well. So I know Clemmer's been to State of Origin now, but it's been a long time now since all that too. So it's a weird move.
It is a weird move.
And obviously, freeing up of discussing the Dragons in a discussion right now with Francis Molo of moving him out of his contract due to all the stuff going on earlier in the preseason, guys. No more stories came out of what really happened there. It was apparently a falling out with a member of staff. I'm not too sure. I think it was an actual court case going on. So this is all allegedly whatever's going on there. But hopefully, if whatever's happening, Francis Molo mentally is okay. He'll probably find a move somewhere else. And with the Dragons, obviously, it's sad to see a guy like that move on. But it's a really interesting sort of talking point right now with the Clemmer, which is the Dragons in general. They just can't stay out of the media as well.
It happens to the bottom teams, brother.
Yeah, they always say in that news cycle. It's a really interesting sort of thought. All right, that's all the news that I've got currently at the moment, bro. Is there anything more you want to talk about news-wise before we move on quickly to the trials?
Nah, brother, nah.
All right, moving over to, we'll just quickly scrub through the trials. You've only watched a couple of games of the weekend for the trials because you had a lot of stuff going on. I know you're doing some renos at your house too. That looks absolutely amazing. You and Caitlin doing amazing things there.
Yeah, bro, I'm going to jump straight onto it after this and go until about 9 o'clock. So
get excited. But I just know when you get around one of footy, bro, it's just going to be you, that couch, and some footy.
Oh, yeah. And Caitlin knows it as well. That's why she's getting my 100% undivided attention now while it's still trials.
Good man. So, touching on the first trial, we have the Sharks versus the Raiders. The Sharks getting over the Raiders 40-10. Obviously, the early part of the hit out, the Raiders getting out to a 10-0 lead until they dragged off a lot of their first team, and the Sharkies started to get a roll on, holding on to their first team for a lot longer minutes there. I don't think there's too much to read into both of these ones. The Raiders, I think they're going to play very similar to what they have in past. Obviously, the attacking ability did look a little bit better, but I don't know if a lot of people were reading into the long range try from KO Weeks. I do think attacking set wise, they had a couple of moments on the Sharkies line. I thought they looked very similar to what they have in the past. The Sharkies, with Adam Fanua-Blake, I think we all agree they're probably going to be a top 4 side this year. And he's going to be very hard to beat, especially as you saw in the trial, about 10, 20 meters out with that beautiful footwork at the line. really that much to read into. Obviously, Nico Hines coming away. Looks like he's having a little bit of a niggle with his groin there. Stopped the goal kicking. He kicked the first goal and then jumped out of that. We'll talk about Supercoach a little bit more later. But yeah, your thoughts on that trial? You didn't get to see much of that, did you?
No, I didn't get to see much of them, brother, to be honest with you. So, I'll just be spitballing if I was to touch on them. So I'll let you mostly touch on these just to breeze through them so we can get to these team reviews.
Beautiful, beautiful. The Parramatta Eels getting over the Newcastle Knights 44-18. I think the Parramatta Eels has been the biggest news story out of this whole game in general. The Newcastle Knights still very curious on their halves pairing overall. Did see signs that it could work. Maybe it could be more expansive, but also just see it's just going to be another merry-go-round for me this season. So I'm a little bit worried there. Parramatta, Supercoach friendly side this year, I really believe. You got Iongi, a lot of people chasing him. You got Kelma Tuolangi looked incredible in the trials, and even your boy that used to play at the Bulldogs, Kaltonga, he had some nice moments in that game. I do think ball handling had been a big worry in that game for him. So error-wise, that's a negative stat. But his tackle break ability, and he was searching for offloads. So there is ability there for him for the future. Shout out to Ronald Volkman as well, ex-Warrior. Obviously, all that stuff going down, coming back to footy with the Parramatta Eels. Absolutely brained it over the weekend, him and Dylan Brown. So Parramatta, even when Moses goes down, I'm sure they're going to be okay. The Dolphins smacking the Cowboys 50-8. Not much to touch on here. Both sides were really inexperienced, but the Dolphins just running through. The Warriors smacking the Melbourne Storm B side there, 36-10. Really good performance for us. Just ticked all boxes. Melbourne Storm, I wouldn't be too worried at all. Manly Seagulls 34-24 against the Rabbitohs. Good little hit out for Manly. Did have to wait on, obviously, a fan apparently having a heart attack and that, and there was a lot of stuff going on around that, guys. We won't go too deep into it. And last couple of games here, guys. Broncos smacking the Titans. Not their A squad, but a lot of their big boys there, 50-12. So a bit of a worrying sign for the Titans. Good signs for the Broncos. They look fit and firing. The Doggies, their second unit, and the Tigers' second unit had a good hit out over the weekend. You had Lockie Alvin still playing that game, and the Tigers looked good for what they could, and the Doggies looked really, really solid. A lot of good juniors coming through the Dogs at the moment. And lastly, the Dragons 26-8 over the Roosters. Both sides actually carried pretty decent sides in this game, and the Dragons coming over the head. I do think that, just watching this trial, the Dragons going to play that Flano type of footy. They look scrappy, but they got the job done. And the Roosters, they were a little bit of a worry, but I'm sure when it comes to the season, they'll end up firing in certain moments. And when Walker and that comes back, I'm sure they'll be okay. So it's not too much to read in there for me anyway.
Yeah. Jose, I think Volkman's not available in Supercoach, bro, because he's not top 30. And Jazzy, what do you mean by pass the hat around? Would you rock a Waz jersey or what? I actually did rock a Waz jersey to the Waz Broncos finals game, and it was the most embarrassing moment of my life because you guys choked it. But nah, just kidding. But it was one of Ash's jerseys from when he was like 12, so it was a little tight.
Yeah, that was the tight one, eh? Definitely got a couple of going around, and I'm going to be spending more money on jerseys this year. I want to get that the Pacifica jersey that we have. I'm really, really excited to get that one. I'll get my hands on that before the season. No doubt about it. Any other ones here in the chat? Custer Khan, the Tigers. Yeah, a lot of good lineups this weekend, and this trials, tons coming to this weekend's trials. A lot of first team, players. So we will touch on that just quickly before we get over to your Supercoach team. So running through the first game of the weekend, the Seagulls versus the Panthers. Not much to touch on with both these teams here. The Seagulls are running out a lot of good players, but still missing, obviously, DCE in that. So keep an eye on there. The Panthers, pretty much a no-name squad for a lot of people out there that don't watch New South Wales Cup and under. All their big squads over at Vegas at the moment. Move over to the West Tigers against the Parramatta Eels. Again, the West Tigers are starting out with a decent squad here. No Jerome Luai still. So I don't know whether that's due to the niggles that he's been having in the offseason, if that's a little bit more of a worry for Tigers fans out there. But other than that, pretty decent squad you're going to see most likely for round one. A couple of changes with Stafford Tyre, Nate in centres. I think that will change. And Heath Mason at fullback. I think, obviously, Buller will get that jersey there. Over to the Eels side of things, top to bottom is what we're going to look at most likely coming to the season, other than the halves, and mainly Sean Russell will probably bounce out, and they'll probably push old Josh Adokar in there as well. So definitely big watch there too. The edge back rollers, bro. Keone Kaltonga and Kelma Tuolangi getting another hit out there in more of the starting role. Do you think they'll probably push for that starting to start the season? Obviously, new coach. Like, what do you think there?
Well, look, it's up for grabs after the season that they had last year, the Eels, and now, Riles coming in. He's going to appreciate hard work, and I think, hard work, we get the nod over who you are or what you've been in. So, just off the top of this chat, sorry, bro, I'm just going to go back to it while the guys are posted in live. Good, Tenzi, bro, yeah, we did touch on Trell and Murray. Sad days to be a Rabbits fan, basically, is what we said. To miss both of them hurts a lot. To miss one of them, you could probably get by, especially if it's Trell. Trell is a big miss, but you got Jai Gray there. It's what we thought. He adds enough. But this is someone like Cam Murray through the middle, where the Rabbits have struggled defensively. He's going to be the big miss. He brings so much play the ball speed, so much defense, so much communication there. And the toilet inspector, bro, Jet Cleary is not in Supercoach. So it's only top 30 players, I do believe.
Yeah. And Jet Cleary, he is on a training trial with us still. So he'll be a little bit before we see him, which obviously Warriors fans should be expecting anyway. He's going to be a Jersey flag halfback this year. He probably won't even be a cup halfback yet this year. So he's going to be a little bit off. So guys, just hang steady there with the New Zealand Warriors and Jet Cleary.
The Eels, bro, I did see that Jack Williams is named as front row this week. He might be a sneaky snag for Supercoach as well. He's at 404 off the top of my head, or 444. And he's only a back rower at this stage, so he might get dual. Hard work, bro, is what Riles is looking for. And what those guys showed on the weekend in their back row, it's their spot to lose at this point, because, Sean Lane, Ryan Madison, they have not shown, Bryce Cartwright, they have not shown shit for the last 2 years. So get fresh blood in there, fresh faces, and I think the Eels would 100% be a lot better for it.
Oh, Josh says, Jet is definitely in there, Supercoach 198K. So he must be in there after the trials. So I think pre-trials he wasn't there, but maybe we could have been wrong.
Bro, I'm pretty sure
would have been halfback or 6. I'm not too sure. But with Jack Williams getting the leadership role as well, that's definitely a big plus for him. And obviously, coming over from the Sharks, he's obviously proven himself. So I probably would look at seeing him maybe starting there in that front row jersey next to Junior Paulo. So very, very interesting. Yep. Brody just saying in the chat. Yeah, right, he is. Yep.
Yeah. But as for Volkman, I don't know why he's not in there, but put it this way, I don't see Manly playing him.
Yeah. Hey, Krishan, how you going? Good to see you in the chat. Moving over to the Dragons versus the Rabbitohs. This was supposed to be a massive lineup, obviously coming to the Charity Shield game. But now Latrell Mitchell looks like he's in doubt. He won't be playing in this game. Not in doubt. He's definitely out for this game. Other than that, those are the only changes I can see in that lineup there. You get to see Lewis Dodd and Jaden Sullivan, which would most likely be the starting pairing for the Rabbitohs this season until Cody Walker comes back off injury. Keon Kolomatangi still on the edge there. It might be a late little change for him to get minutes in the middle. We'll wait and see, definitely with trials. And the Dragons naming another decent squad here. Most likely, this looks more likely their first squad as well. I think it's very similar from last week. So keep an eye out if you're a Dragons fan, any players that you like to look there. Moving over to your biggest game over the weekend. I know you'll be at Stratty, but I'm sure you'll be trying a way to watch this game for you. The Broncos versus the Doggies, both big squads here. Very curious ones for the Broncos. They've got Jack Joseski, as we spoke about at work the other day. Looks like he has actually stole that spot from Brendan Picorda. Definitely still a wait and see for round 1, but if he's won it due to hard work and all that, well done to him. He might be a good pickup for Supercoach there. I don't think he's ever been fully Supercoach relevant. I remember him, I think it was last year or the year before for the Cowboys. He came in late and he was a cheapie that ended up shot up very quickly because he scored a try. Other than that, his base is not too crazy, but he's still a cheapie, so you'll probably make a little bit of money there. And Jamat Shibasaki is back, and he's in the centers for the Broncos in this trial here. I'm not too sure how much you want to read into that because Dean Mariner still needs to find a spot, maybe, or does Shibasaki start in the Broncos center position?
And maybe Mariner's carrying still a bit of an injury, or maybe he's just not shown enough for Madge.
Yeah, he's named in the reserves, so he's still around abouts. But again, there's a lot of things that could change by round 1. These reserves, obviously, starting with C. Walt and all that, definitely could change a lot of things. But the starting lineup, very strong. Adam Reynolds is in that 7 jersey as well, so he will be starting the season by the looks of it for the Broncos, which is good signs for Broncos fans out there.
100%. Yeah. Hopefully there's no injuries from this. As much as I, don't like the Broncos, couldn't give two shits about their team. I don't want to see any of their stars get injured, more so for the benefit of the NRL. They got a lot of talent, a lot of eyes come their way. So hopefully nobody gets injured in this game.
And yeah, Tans, just keep an eye out with Pickwater. As I said, it could be a round one decision that he comes back in. It could be Madge just saying, like, listen, you got to push hard and I want to see something out of trials and training. But then again, it could be the opposite. It could be just Josefsky stole that role and maybe Pickwater maybe coming off the bench, or we don't see him for the start of the season. So keep an eye out on that round one.
Look to trade him out, brother. I would. Jack Williams is a good pickup for back row, who's going to be playing a pretty big role for the Eels through the middle. And he's going to get a lot of base points straight away. Just playing front row.
Joshua Hill, if you're, hey, listen, Dean Mariner to the Waz confirmed, that would be absolutely incredible. We've been chasing backline depth in that. Dean Mariner would be incredible on the wing.
I'm not convinced, though. I'm not convinced.
You're not convinced of Dean? On the wing, I like him. Center, I was like a little bit shaky in first grade last year defensively.
Yeah, but I'm just shaky in general. Like, he's got talent, don't get me wrong. It'll depend on what money it's on. I wouldn't pay at this stage more than $450 a year.
Yeah, he won't be coming to us either way. The Broncos will lock him up because he's got a ton of talent in that. But there's other guys in that system we could definitely pinch. I love that Isaiah.
Joey Manu.
Joey Manu to the Waz. Nah, he's got a rooster spot waiting for him there, Jose, unfortunately. Moving over to, we got the Dolphins versus Titans on the Saturday 6:30 game here. Both sides naming a decent lineup. The Titans pretty much running out the same lineup as last week. And on the bench, they have Tino Fassel, Malawi, Brian Kelly. So they're filling out those spots there. Keanu Kinney, Jaden Campbell. So keep an eye on that trial for Titans fans. Hopefully they go better this week. If not, the Dolphins have the ability to put another 50 points on the Gold Coast Titans, which would suck for Titans fans out there. And for Warriors fans, rejoice. Hopefully 66-6. Moving on, the Roosters versus the Newcastle Knights. Again, guys, we got James Tedesco here playing in the trial. Mark Nawanga Tisawase playing in the centre role with Robert Toya. There is no Billy Smith. He is out to start the season due to a hip niggle. And also playing off the back of that, Navahu White being named on the bench. A little bit worried about that for super coaches. Like, he's probably still going to play decent minutes though, so wouldn't read into that too much. Siwa Wong, a decent price there at 300 and something K from memory. I have him on my side right now in that 13 jersey. Has the ability to play edge back rower as well, which he did later on in that game. So keep an eye out there. The Newcastle Knights, Caleb Ponga, you get to see him in action, and you get to see the starting halves pairing for the Newcastle Knights this year. Tyson Gamble and Fletcher Sharp, brother.
Don't understand the Knights, bro. I dare say Adam O'Brien with first coach sack this year.
I think that looks like it's going to be the way to go. Obviously, I hate seeing people lose the job and all that, but if there's any guy that looks like this year that's going to be under pressure, Adam O'Brien's definitely top of that list for me.
Yeah, him and Desi.
And talking about coaches under pressure, Craig Bellamy and the Melbourne Storm coming up against the Cowboys on the weekend. He's definitely not under pressure, but he's locked in till death, old Craig Bellamy. Naming a decent side here, Cam Munster being named in that 6 jersey. That's the big name to take out of this game. Supercoach fans, if he's starting the season, if he's looking healthy, because he's just come back off of a surgery, but he is named here. Keep an eye out for him. 600K, but he's got the ability to play to get to that 800K range. Whether you want to wait off to around over that origin period, which is where he kind of hits his straps, or if you want to get on him early, hoping he can get to it fairly early on before he goes to State of Origin. So keep an eye out.
Yeah, I don't like Munster on Supercoach at this point in time, just from the lack of ability he showed last year to play week in, week out. And then obviously the presence that Jerome Hughes has on that team now. He's still, in my opinion, going to be the main man.
And shout out James Pocock. Your podcast sucks, brother. This is a live stream, not a podcast. So take that as you will. The Cowboys.
Bro, you're still here for us. You're still here for us. So I appreciate it, bro.
The Cowboys naming at number 7, Thomas Duffy. So a big cheapie for super coaches there. All rumors say that he's a good goal kicking halfback. I've heard a little things on the side that maybe he could take that kicking role off of Scotty Drinkwater before we even see it for the Cowboys this season. So keep an eye on that for the trials. Moving, and that is the last game of the weekend. So definitely a good week of trials here. Get excited, guys, especially Supercoach fans, to keep an eye on certain players that you want for Supercoach. And while talking that, guys, let's move it over to reviewing your Supercoach side. So we got Lexi We got Tans, we got Tahi, and we got Jose sending in their sides. We got a couple other sides coming in next Thursday, guys. So if you're missing out this week and you sent your side in there to Tahi. Tahi's been doing a lot of work for me on the side there, getting a lot of sides. Come back next week and we'll review the rest of your sides there coming into the week 1 of the NRL season. So moving over, first of all, Lexi, he is new to Supercoach as well, bro. So, just give him a couple of pointers here. Starting off, looks like, here we go. In that fullback jersey, he's got Ryan Papenhuyzen to start the season, Tane Tuapiki, and Heath Mason. So he's gone fairly cheap in the fullback. We'll start off there. For me, I've been a big proponent of like going big money in my fullbacks. So if you want a cheapie, there's Isaiah Ongi, that sort of stuff. I wouldn't be looking at Ryan Papenhuyzen and Tuapiki to start the season, but what's your thoughts there?
The Pappenhausen one I can see, I can make a case for, but Heath Mason, try and free up another 60k, bro, and get Iongi. He's at least going to build you some cash, and he's going to be playing as a starting role. Whereas Heath Mason, I don't see the Tigers giving him a spot at the moment. They got Skelton in their back line, they got Adam Dewey. They got a lot of other guys there that are going to get the nod over him. Your flex position, also, again. You want somebody in your flex position to be a big money grab, that you can't fit into your halves. That's going to be a big benefit to have somebody with a lot of money in that fullback role. But yeah, the Pappenhausen shout, I don't mind it, especially if he's going to goal kick. But I don't see him the goal kicking either over Nick Meaney.
Yeah, that's definitely a watch over, coming into the season. I don't think we'll get to see too much of Ryan Papenhuyzen in trials. I think he's named in reserves, but if he is goal kicking, 100%, I love that because I flirted with this a little bit with Ryan Papenhuyzen. But my first thought was if you could get someone like KP, you can get someone, who else we got here? Latrell obviously out with injury. Oh, Tommy Turbo. Those are the big guns that score the biggest in Supercoach. If you can find a way to get one of those guys in, Bella, that will be a good little help to your side here. Moving over to the center wings. I actually don't hate the center wings too much. Suni Taruva there, Sione Katoa, Stephen Crichton, Ali Leotoa, and on the bench, Sifa Katalakai, Ben Trebojevic, and Jesse Arthurs. So Jesse Arthurs look great in the Multi All-Stars at 341k. There's ability there, but also you got to worry about where the Broncos are going to strike with their attack. Me and Brody have spoken about Jesse Arthurs already. Names to talk about, Stephen Crichton, definitely ability as a first grader, Supercoach player. He can average around that 50 to 60, but every time you see Stephen Crichton usually go big, usually comes off the back of maybe him getting goal kicking because he's the type of player that strikes when the iron's hot. He's more of a leader. He's not a huge work rate type of center. He's usually a center that shines him in the moments, but I don't hate him. He can reach that 50 average that you need to hold that value. But if you're looking for upside of like a 60 to 70, I probably would look elsewhere.
I agree. Yeah, look, I think he's stressing too much about having somebody playing and decent money in all the reserves. I haven't seen all the reserves yet because I'm pretty zoomed in on my phone. But, brother, try and focus on 4 reserves that are going to play and do a job for you and not hold too much money in everybody else. Whereas you got everybody around that 400k, it's kind of weakening your other players at this point in time. But yeah, Stephen Crichton, points-wise on Supercoach, never the best option. Doggies are left attack mostly as well. We've seen some games last year. Ash is right where, Critter did blow out. But other than that, I think even Bronson Sherry will be a better option on Supercoach.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the Ali Leotoa shout. If you're willing to stick with the young centre there, he showed a lot of tackle breakability, which is where you get your points from Supercoach. Suni Taruva is the other one that I'm looking at, where 577k. I don't think he's going to have the output that you want to see him in the West Tigers as what he did have with the Penrith Panthers to get 577k. I would be looking at players like Ruben Garrick, who's a well-known top scorer for Supercoach. He's at 680k. Or we even have in our side, well, I had in my side, I was flirting with Greg Marju at 513k. He's a base stat killer. When we talk about this too, Lexi, base stat is usually just, his run rate
Meters,
and all that. It's all a
sit-ups.
basic stat of his game. And then the attacking stats add on top of that, and that's what gets you your top end value usually. And Gregory Maggio, I think his average base stats like 35 to 40, which is really good for a center wing. So Suni Taruva, I probably would miss him, especially 577K. And even Sione Katoa, I probably would look at around that sort of price range. Casey McLean's, Tyron Munro. Who have you got in your center wings at the moment?
Asako, Toto, Jacko with Montoya. I don't know. I don't mind the Katoa one. Katoa can go for hundreds. We've seen Katoa go for hundreds. But Talakai off the bench at 450, I don't really like either.
Yep. And like just as a broad scheme of things too, Lexi, also, first of all, we're not professionals, right? We do this for fun
Definitely
as well,
not.
guys. So continue, like, if you're going to watch any Supercoach content, go check out Beers at Break Evens with Rugby League Guru or Timmy Williams on Supercoach Playbook. There's a lot of really good ones out there. But with us, us having fun and that, the way I play Supercoach, I got a ton of my money in my fullbacks, a ton of my money in my halves, and a ton of my money like skittled around in second row, stuff like that. My center wings probably got a little bit more of the money as well. You could probably go cheaper in like your front rows and stuff like that, which we'll get to a little bit later on, which you kind of did too. So I would probably look at moving some of these center wings out for more value buys. I think Suni Taruva is the big one for me. Everything else, I could see an option for him. Sifa Talakai, depending on minutes, he's going to be playing for the middle, but he's probably got ability there too. So,
Yep.
moving over to your 5'8" pairing, Jerome Luai and Luke Metcalf. I've seen a lot of people go Jerome Luai. Obviously, continue to watch out, just judging on if he is coming this season with an injury. Hopefully, he's all good. From all rumors, he's going to play round one. But I definitely love that. He's going to step up for a bigger role. If you are willing to risk it with the West Tigers, this is definitely the best way to do it with Jerome Luai. That's going to be taking a big role with the West Tigers. And Luke Metcalf, goal kicking, number 7. I think a lot of teams are going to be running Luke Metcalf this year.
Yeah, look, I'm happy for this pairing. The 5'8" is pretty light on. There's not too many that you can go for. Dylan Brown is a no buy at the moment with how high he is for me. Tommy Dearden is probably a set and forget, but he's a lot of money. And then you're looking at your middle ranges where it's like Luai and Cody Walker, and Luai's a great option. You know what you're going to get out of him. He'll base himself around at least 40 plus with the potential to go to 100s, depending how much he gets his hands on the ball.
Yeah, 100%, bro, 100%. Moving over to the halfback pairing, we've got Jamal Fogarty and Isaiah Katoa. Yep. My only thing here would be I would try to upgrade to getting a Nathan Cleary, someone like that, so you don't miss the pack. I think, majority of us as super coaches, Nathan Cleary is like the golden child, and same as Nico Hines. A lot of people would be hunting for those guys being your premium halfback, and then filling in your second halfback, whichever way you kind of want to go with, brother. So Jamal Fogarty, for me, has never been really super coach relevant. He could get up to those 50 ranges and that. But from memory, I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure he has the goal kicker for the Canberra Raiders, but attacking wise, the Canberra Raiders never really click on for me. And Isaiah Katoa, I still think that at the moment, especially with the role he's going to be taking with the Dolphins, I probably still wouldn't have him for that 390 where you could go Tom Duffy if you want to go ultra cheap. I think you've looked at Ilias for a period there. I'm trying to think of other ones. You got Sanders Smith. That I'm not sure if you have him in your squad.
I do.
You don't have Sanders Smith.
Oh no. These guys no. Look, Katoa, if he starts and he starts the season the way he did last year, I would be happy with having someone like Katoa. But yeah, the Fogarty one, the ability is there, but it never reconciles onto Supercoach points. You got to go a bit heavier on your halves.
Yeah, and usually, you want guys that are the high up ceiling of like run rate, halves that like to run first as well. Or if you want to like high upside like Nathan Cleary's, and that is like just with the best, system in the league and, try assist stats and stuff like that. So Isaiah Katoa is really good at orchestrating a lot of attack from the inside, but his like running game is there, but he doesn't really use it as much as you want for a super coach type of player, for me anyway. But who knows, this season being, given the full reins, obviously with his coach, Christian Wolf being the Tongan head coach, could be a masterstroke. So you could be onto something there. Just for me, if you could find money for a Nathan Cleary and that, it would just play a little bit more safer for you. But Supercoach is fun at the end of the day. If you like Jamal Fogarty, you like what you see, go ham.
100%.
Move to your edge back rollers. We've got Eli Katoa, Ola Kawatu, Viliami Kikau, and finishing in the bench, Aaron Clark, Leka Alasima, and Dimitri Vaimwanga. Obviously, you can tell Big New Zealand Warriors fan here. But Eli Katoa, to start the season, 717K. I think that he'll be up there again for being one of the best edge back rollers and that. So you probably could safe like to keep him there. Ola Kawatu, again, he's going to probably score a ton of points this year as well. So I love those two. Viliami Kikau, do you reckon Kikau is going to have a good season there for the Doggies after last year? Or do you think that he's going to get phased out with a lot of juniors coming in? What's your thoughts?
Nah, he'll be there and he'll play, 60 plus minutes a game, if not the 80. So yeah, that back row line is stacked. The only critique I have on this is, too many wires players, and that's not shitting on the wires. It's just you don't want too many in the one team, so you have options. Otherwise, you're rooting for too many guys in one game, and they're all not going to get enough ball to score well.
Yeah, and you also got to be worried about like Lek Alasima is not looking like he's going to get a starting role at all in our starting 17. Maybe, I'm hoping, it'd be good to see, but most likely he won't.
And buy rounds.
Definitely will. Yeah, and buy rounds, right? Yeah, when buy rounds come around, if you got all these Warriors on your bench and that, and you do you need to change people out due to injury, you're stuck in a little bit of well. The only thing I would say is if you're willing to do so, Eli Katoa is an amazing starting buy, but at 717K, I could possibly try to take that and get a Nico Hines or something that's going to score the more of the higher end type of scores. You're looking at 120s consistently and stuff. But if you're willing to play with Eli Katoa, you like the way he plays, and you think the Melbourne Storm are in for a good year, which everyone does, you could be a good little play there in Supercoach. Front rows, Spencer Leniu, Moses Leota, Royce Hunt, and Tom Ale. Your two front row pairing there, I think he's looking at more of ability of NRL. For 380K, 393K, Spencer Leniu taking up probably a bigger role this year, hopefully. That's probably what you're banking on there. And Moses, I was actually querying on Moses Leota a little bit because he's probably going to take, depending on the Panthers, if he's going to have an uptick in minutes, I think he's got a 1 point PPM. So if he gets to that 40 to 50 minute range, he could probably lift that 300K to a 500K. You could probably move him on. So keep an eye on that if you want to play that way.
I like the front row pairing, both under 400K, both going to get you that 40 mark. There's not too many front rows that will score over that 40 mark anyway, even up to 600K. It's only going to be your exceptions of Tino and Haas and, maybe Max King that score higher than that 60 range in a front row. So I like it. I like the two shouts. They're going to play decent minutes this year, both of them, and Royce Hunt on the bench. All very affordable, not taking up too much cap space.
Beautiful. And the hooker pairing here, Jeremy Marshall King and Wade Egan. I like, both those guys as a hooker. My only tip would be for that, there is a lot of money sitting in that hooker role. I would probably go, for me, I've gone Harry Grant and a cheapie. I'm pretty sure you've gone, now you've gone Blake Brayley and a cheapie, right?
Yeah. Sanders Smith. Yeah, only just with the duel, I can save a trade later on if I move him to half. And he's going to bank cash straight away, especially in the early rounds.
Yeah. So my only tip, and it's really dependent, as I said, we do this for fun, but if you want to move on either Marshall King or Egan, depending on who you're more likely to run into the season with, I would probably keep Marshall King because Egan with a head knock mid-game could hurt you. Move him on and get Sanders Smith. You freed up 200K nearly cash that you can put elsewhere in your lineup there, because obviously Sanders Smith goal kicking, going to be playing number 6 next to Chad Townsend with the Roosters. So and he's got an 80-minute role. So that would be my only critiques. But decent side here, brother. I love obviously I love that you played it as in a way of these are players that you probably really enjoy watching as well.
100%. 100%.
And that's a fun way to play Supercoach. Not everyone's be chasing it just to get into that top 1,000 and stuff, but these are little tips that I have that I would be looking at. But it's completely up to you. And as you said, you said you made a couple of changes here. He said in the chat, McLean and Montoya have been come in, I reckon, by the looks of it. So he has made a couple of changes already. So keen to continue to look out for you this season, brother.
Yeah, for sure. We can always review down the line as well, but I like it how it's fairly balanced across the whole team. He's not trying to stockpile kind of the approach we have done where, you're trying to bank on 5 guys getting 100 and the rest getting 40. He's got all guys probably getting about 60 to 70. Yeah. Most guys, and that's not a bad way to play either. And that could probably play off because, you're going to be very consistent with a team like that. Whereas, there's weeks where me and Ash will probably did score last year. I can't say will score, but we scored, 1,300, 1,400. But then, there's weeks where your big guns didn't fire and we only scored about that 900. Whereas with a team like this, you'll probably steady at that, that 1,000. The only main worry I've got is how many of the one team you've got, brother, because once you hit a buy round, you've got that many wires, you might be a bit up in trouble. Trust me, we've all been there. When I first started Supercoach as well, it was like doggies, all doggies, and then it's like, oh shit.
Yeah, 100%, Bella. But if there's any tips on that, like for me, like Supercoach players, you should be like kind of, if you wanted to play this way, I should be sort of locking in your side. Start looking at Tommy Trebojevich's, Nathan Cleary's, Nico Hines. They're your top scorers, even Caleb Pongers and that, depending on their draw and stuff. Latrell Mitchell, if he's healthy, Walshy. Players like that, then you probably notice fullbacks is always your biggest scorer's position. So it is definitely a better way to probably have a lot of money in your fullback position, the way I sort of look at it anyway. But good team there, Lexi, brother, especially for a new sort of Supercoach player. Next up, we got the man himself, Tahi, who absolutely, he loves his Supercoach, brother. He's the one that's in all the forums, in all the WhatsApp groups, and he's trying to get people to jump into the Supercoach League as well, which I will put it in the description in the video, guys, after this, if you want to jump into our league this year. So make sure you jump over to that. But Tahi, starting fullbacks here, you got Connor Tracy, Tommy Trebojevic, and Isaiah Aongi. So Connor Tracy, starting there in that fullback flex. Brother, your thoughts there? Obviously, your man at the Doggies. Yeah, interesting little play.
Look, base stat killer. He's got a try and two in him as well through support. He's got the dual position. I like that. And to be honest, you could just say that he's going to be the fullback and Trebojevic is a flex. So at least you got the one really big gun there, and you got money that's going to definitely come in Iongi, despite any injury. And Connor Tracy, look, I like the shout. It's a bit more affordable, and you're probably spending that money elsewhere as well to strengthen positions. I don't mind that shout.
Yeah, good. So Tahi, so for me, Tracy gives me an open board. Yeah, I can see that too. Also being a dual CT dub and fullback. So he definitely opens up a lot of options. There's a lot of dual players. You're definitely a Supercoach player that loves your duels. So I can definitely see that already. It gives you a lot of freedom, especially when injuries and that come in and trades, which is a big plus. Your center wing, I love. I think it's a really solid one there. You got Ruben Garrick, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, Greg Marju, and Adam Dewey. Jack Bird on the bench, Billy Smith, and Robert Toya. Keep an eye out with Billy Smith. I think, as I said, he's coming into a season with a hip injury. I'm sure you're probably already over it, brother. Whether you want to bring in a cheapie in there, like a Jackson Purdue or something like that to free up a little bit of cash you could chuck elsewhere. But everywhere else, I can't really complain. Like, if you think that Roger's going to boost up to that 70-point average that he had as a fullback being on the wing, which he has the ability to do so at the Warriors this year. Obviously, it just depends on how much ball he's going to get. Obviously, try scoring ability, but he's going to base that probably around that 40 range. So he's definitely got upwards there. Greggy Marju, definitely going to make a lot of money. Adam Dewey is definitely one I've been playing with in my 6 role. If he's got goal kicking this year, I love that play.
Yeah, look, I love the back line. If Billy Smith isn't starting the season, I would probably look to trade him out just to grab that extra 100K. Other than that, I can't complain with it. You're expecting Rog to get through a lot more just base stats on the wing and hopefully score a try or two a week. You're laughing.
Yeah, 100%. Moving over to your 5'8" position, you got Luke Metcalf, the goal-kicking halfback, and you got Braden Trindle, probably more so playing as a halfback with the Sharkies at the moment, and they got the goal-kicking as well. So I'm guessing you're banking on Trindle goal-kicking, Sharkies scoring a lot of points and boosting on that. He's definitely got good potential there as well. I was looking at definitely other options, being at 553K. There's a lot of money there. You could probably maybe move up to a Cam Munster if you're really willing to. I think that he's probably a better play for me. But definitely keep it. I can see why you went that way.
I can see it as well, especially with the doubts on Hines. But for me, if Hines is fit, playing every round, I steer away from Trindle just a little bit, at least until he comes down to about that 450, 430 mark. Because the Sharks are going to have a lot of points in them. Don't get me wrong, he will score really well sometimes, but if Hines is the main man, he's going to bank a lot of those points. And at 550, Cody Walker's not far off, and he's the main man at the Rabbits. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely other players you could push to, but if you're high on the Sharkies and you're high on their point scoring potential this year, especially the goal kicking, I can definitely see that being an option. But I would go different ways, and as you said, love it. Yeah, if Metcalf gets a duel as well, so he definitely loves these duels.
He will get a duel for sure. Just give it 3 weeks. But yeah, I like the thought process behind all the duels. You got Dewey there as well. That you could move to 5'8" instead of Trindle and beef up that back line even more so.
Yeah. Moving over to your halfbacks, you got Nathan Cleary and Sandon Smith. Pretty standard in that.
Beautiful.
I have Sandon Smith in the hooker role, but you can definitely put him in that halfback role if you're saving money there too. So I love it.
Yeah. Who is the backup hooker? I can't see yet.
It is he's got Connor Watson as hooker and Sam Healy with the Warriors at bottom dollar. He's probably more so praying that Healy gets a spot now 17 at a 14. Which is definitely possible, but it's still up in the air. You got other players there.
Owen Paddy, sure. I would grab Owen Paddy. Is to cheapy, I do believe.
Yeah. I'm worried about. I don't know. Obviously, Ricky will start the season with Levi and Starling, but Owen Paddy will be pushing hard, right?
Yeah, and he's got an injury in him, and the way that Owen Paddy played in the trials, if you're going with a hooker already that you're hoping gets a shot. I see a lot more upside to Owen Paddy than I do Healy at this point in time. But that's only just me being like if I'm critiquing anything other than that, I'm liking this team a lot.
Yeah, he just came out and said placeholder. So yeah, I can definitely understand that. Corey Pakes can definitely follow that option as well. 232K.
Yep.
Looking like he's going to get the big option there for the Broncos. Obviously Blake Mozart being out with injury. So
it is a dual player as well, brother. Yep.
Yeah, that's it, Tans. Yep. Moving over to your edge back rollers, Dylan Lucas, Cam McGuinness, and Aaron Clark. On your bench, you got Tom Gilbert, Vaimonga, and Charlie Goma. I can see potential with all those players. I love Dylan Lucas as a player. I was trying to find a way of having him in the side as well. For me, I just had other options I went with. But you seeing any worries there? Cam McGuinness is the only thing there. Is like, for me, he's a base stat killer, right? He's going to be around that 50 holding this season, but I don't see him having potential to push up cash. But if you got him there just a hold, and obviously being a hooker cover, you got a duel on him. I can definitely see why you went there.
No, I like the McKenna shout. No problem that he'll cover his 60 plus and keep that money, if not increase. The only thing I'm worried about is potentially Dylan Lucas not getting a start. If Dylan Lucas doesn't get a start for me, he's just going to tank in cash straight away. So much ability, such a flexible player. But yeah, if he doesn't get the starting back row position, he will drop in cash and pick him up at a later date. Other than that, if he starts, beautiful selection, beautiful back line. Back row line.
Coming off the weekend, Tyson Frizzell's been moved to that 13 jersey, so there's a higher chance that he'll get that.
Adam Adelade's still not back yet, and he will be potentially for round one.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what their thoughts are there, whether they're going to, you're right. It could definitely throw up a couple of things. So keep an eye out there. Whether they push Kai Pearce-Paul out of the lineup and have Dylan Lucas is depending on who they prefer there too, right?
100%.
Tom Gilbert, I was actually flirting with Tom Gilbert a little bit there as well, coming back off injury. He's got high potential if he's willing to play for a minute. Injury is the only worry there for me. I've seen him have games upwards 50, 60. He's a base stat killer, as I continue to say. I think his base stats around that 40 to 50. So I can see money raised for him if he gets a decent role, decent minutes. I think this all comes down to these forwards. You want big minutes out of these guys as well. Tom Gilbert should hopefully get that, but that's still a wait and see.
100%.
Moving over to front row pairing, Terrell May, Nafahu White, Corey Horsburgh, and Royce Hunt. I definitely see exactly why. Obviously, we've already made it known that we're not the highest of Terrell May coming into the season. I think that, obviously the hype around him, I feel, is like slightly overhyped at the moment for me. But I definitely see like there's a 60% now. Is it 50% people having him in Supercoach? And if we miss the boat, we missed the boat. Like, you know what I mean? If you want to be on the boat to save your ass there, I can see that being a play as well.
Yeah, but we've seen Haas go to like 900K. That's about it for a front rower. I don't see Terrell May getting over 800K. Starting at 600K, I'm just like, oof. I don't like it, especially when you got Tino that's more affordable than that. And you know what Tino brings to Supercoach. Other than that, other options would, move Clark up front and then stack another back rower. I don't know. I hope I'm wrong for everybody that has Terrell May, but I just don't like it at that price at this point in time.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. And even a great Supercoach player, I listened to the Supercoach Playbook podcast last night. Desi Creek, who's always consistently a top player in Supercoach, won it a couple of years ago and all that. He's not starting with Terrell May currently right now in his team. He very similar things. Obviously Tino is a big watch. At Tahi's already brought it up here. Tino's trials this week. Obviously, he misses out round 1, but I wouldn't worry about too much if you got Corey Horsburgh and Nafahu White. Carry him on the bench. He'll come back in. He's going to get you a decent amount of points. And if you miss the boat on Tino, that's a little bit more of a worry, I feel, than Terrell at the moment. But we could be wrong too, right?
100% we could be wrong. Terrell May could continue to blow it out the water like he did last year, but I just see it being a little bit different this year.
Yeah, same. Moving with hookers too. Last of all, Connor Watson and Samuel Healy. We did touch on that a little bit before, but more so Connor Watson. I actually looked at Connor Watson a little bit more. He played a really decent game in that Indigenous Multi All-Stars over the weekend. So he's definitely a big plus. There was a moment there he went down, looked like with a little bit of an injury, but he played through it during the game. So I was worried about that. But at 583K with the 2RF duel, he definitely is a decent option there as well.
Yeah, completely like it. Even when Smith comes back, he's going to get that lock jersey for the Roosters as well. So, it's a no-brainer. Connor Watson is a great pickup.
Yeah, and I think this is the best sort of side to show for other people as well. Tahi is obviously a big Supercoach player, so this is sort of the way he's thinking, and you can't really argue with the way he's thinking with his side at all. As you said, he's got a lot of duels here, a lot of players that got a ton of upside. You got guns that, we know that Greg Marju can get up to 700 or 800K. He's got the ability to do so. Tans is a woman. Oh, sorry, I should be correcting you on that, but oh, great. Anyway, continuing on, great team Tahi. We'll definitely continue to watch out for your side in the future because I know you're going to kill us in the Waz Up TV league and even in our league. I'm sure you're going to be jumping in our league right now. Moving over to Tans. Good old Tans. I'll start off. I'll find your fullbacks in that. Shout out to Tans. She's a new Supercoach player as well. So yeah, just obviously with the critiques and that, obviously she's new to it, but I see a lot of good things in the side too, judging on maybe what she's seeing with her eyes. So starting off with her fullback position, she got KO Weeks and a Tolotau Kula. And then you got in the flex position, Casey McLean. My first tip there would be I would probably look at having a fullback of Tommy Turbo. Again, like as I said before, Tommy Turbo, Kalen Ponga, these are your big gun fullbacks. K Week showed a little bit of potential in that trial, but I wouldn't be banking on it, holding on it, especially with the Canberra Raiders. And then I'll be finding another fullback in that goaler position and in that flex as well. I'll probably push Casey McLean to a center wing. But your thoughts there?
Yeah, KO Weeks, I can see the ability. Kohler, not so much because his position in the Manly squad is even unknown at the moment if he's going to get a centre position. Gun for a big fullback name, one of those top fives, Ponga, Trebojevic, Teddy, Walsh, Trell, one of those five, or at least money that's going to be made in Iongi. Other than that, KO Weeks, I can see the potential, but I just don't see the Raiders having too many points in them.
Yeah, and I can see areas where you can free up cash to get up to those big guns, but if you're worried about freeing up cash as well, obviously Ryan Papenhuyzen is at 550K, right? He's around that range. You could push him in. That I think obviously has more Supercoach potential from past years. Just goal kicking's obviously his big thing for him to get to that skyrocket to those 800 to 900K range, which is probably what you're looking for. So keep an eye out there. If you can free up cash and try and get in one of those big guns, Tans, I think that's a great way to start Supercoach, so you don't lag behind if you're willing to play that way. Moving to your center wings, you got Stephen Crichton, Stone Street, Xavier Savage, Jesse Arthur. Sitting on your bench, Isaac Tungo, Skelton, Howarth. The first big question I have there, Stone Street, I don't think he's going to get that starting role for the Sharkies to start the season, depending on Sione Katoa and how he's going for the season. But even then, as soon as Sione Katoa is back and healthy, because he did rest out that trial due to a niggle, Stone Street is out of that lineup, I believe, anyway, for the Sharks.
Yeah, unfortunately, as much as there is hype around him and the Sharks trying to fill a position for him, I don't see it. But I like Tungo to jump in there, and then maybe a cheapie for Stone Street, and then potentially free up cash for a bigger buy. The other three I can see and I like.
Yeah, I completely agree. Completely agree. I even like the Isaac Tungo on the bench. Like, even if you could push him to a starting role, move Stone Street to maybe a Jackson Purdue. You've got, who are we looking at? Robert Toya looks like he might get that center jersey for the Roosters. He's still up in the air though, but you got players like that at a bottom dollar. You're going to free up 400K, 300K. You can move up to a gun fullback in Tommy Turbo or KP or one of those boys that are going to fire that score big scores. That's what you'd be looking for, where KO Weeks is not fully known for that. That's the biggest thing overall. But everyone else, as you said, I can definitely see an argument for. Like a lot of Stephen Crichton's around, so we got a lot of people that are keen on Stephen Crichton this season.
Oh, look, I can see it. But best center in the game, but doesn't score the best. Doesn't rely on base stats too much.
Yeah, and my best tip of this, Tans, because I can already see that you've got a great footy eye. I can see that. Like, you picked on players that are amazing footy players. But with Supercoach, a little bit different. You want to look at those players that have those attacking potential, those attacking upsides. There's certain players in the league that look incredible out there, like Stephen Crichton, incredible leadership, still scores fairly well as Supercoach. He'll average around that 50 range, right? But obviously, when you watch him with your eyes, you can see what he does to that football side. He's a leader. He has special moments, but when you're talking Supercoach, you want high touches of the ball, you want tackle breaks, you want all those big attacking stats. Where Stephen Crichton, he's just one of those guys that tunes in at the right moment, changes the game, momentum changer. He's just not really known to be that high work rate sort of center. He just clicks in when he needs to, and that's what makes him the best center in the game, right?
Yeah, 100% right.
Moving to your halves here, you got to your 5'8", sorry, Luke Metcalf and Daniel Atkinson. I like Luke Metcalf. Daniel Atkinson at 418K. I wouldn't roll with him right now. Looking at options for that role, Adam Dewey is around that 400K range if you want to go to him. But if you're able to free up money, you could move to a Cody Walker at 550K. I think he's around, another 150K if you can free that up. Obviously, Isaac Stone Street moving off your books and going cheap can free up that cash to move these guys around as well. So keep an eye on that. Just because I don't think Atkinson's going to have a big role. Whether he gets a bench role, maybe. But other than that, he's not going to be starting in the halves.
Nah, I see him being the 18th man for the Sharks until an injury.
Yep. He could be a placeholder for you as well, Tans, if you are thinking of that as well. Moving to your halfbacks, you got Braden Trindle and Isaiah Qatar. We kind of touched on them a little bit before. Braden Trindle, I can see what you're thinking about there. Isaiah Qatar, I'm not as hot as a Supercoach sort of player. He's an incredible footballer, but again, doesn't really contribute like Supercoach wise, right? For me, the only thing I would add is as I continue to say, if you play Supercoach, if you want to get higher scores and all that sort of stuff, you probably want to have a Nathan Cleary or one of those guys. I know it sounds like you don't want to have the same team as everyone else, right? But there's certain players that you got to have in your side to stay around the pack, and I think Nathan Cleary is one of them.
Yeah, if not Nathan Cleary, Jerome Hughes, even DCE, if he's a bit cheaper, get a good score. Mitch Moses has the ability if he has an injury-free season. But yeah, you need a big gun, known performer. Guys that average that 40 touches, 50 touches a game.
Yeah, 100%. Moving over, let's see if I can find. Here we go. This is your forwards. So second row forwards, you got Kalon Matangi, Dylan Walker, and Kobe Hetherington. On your bench, you got Sifika Talakai, Brennan Piakota, and Leka Alasima. First of all, I like Keon Kalon Matangi there. As we spoke about before the show, now he could get in that middle role in that 13 jersey. I think it's definitely he's going to get that. So he's a good little option there. Kobe Hetherington probably playing decent minutes now, being in a 13 role for the Broncos by the looks of it. Obviously, Paddy Carrigan can go in the front row. Brennan Piakota, I would watch out for Jack Josewski now getting his role. So you could go cheap there.
Yep.
So, yeah. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, Walker, it'll depend. If he's starting 13 or not over Aaron Clark, will be my choice. If he's not starting, don't have him, in my opinion. Kobe Hetherington, great. Keon, great, especially now with the Murray injury. Ash hit the nail on the head. If Piakora's out, I'll be swapping him out for Jack or even Charlie Geimer, who is rumoured to get a starting second row. If not, definitely a bench role at the Eels, and he's a bottom dollar cheapie.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. The only other thing I would say there too, Dylan Walker, definitely a good player. I could probably see him staying at that 400k range. I don't see him really getting up to that 500-600k depending on minutes. I think that's all it comes down to. You could move to being at 440 at 84. Kelman Tuolangi is around that range, and he's going to be a starting edge back rower for the Parramatta Eels. So high attacking upside, more than likely will get more attacking stats due to his line running, scoring tries, stuff like that. Where Dylan Walker is going to be more of the connection piece in the middle. He's not going to get those high end, like, you know, try scoring stats and all that sort of stuff that you will see of an edge back rower that runs a really good line. And I see tons in the chats here as well. So you want to spend good money on your spine. Yeah, that's usually the way you want to play. Fullback is a big one. You want to spend a lot of money in your fullback and that. And then your halves. They're your two best scoring places in Supercoach.
100%.
Moving over to the front row pairing, we got James Fisher-Harris and Otikamanu. And moving on to your bench there, we got Leo Thompson and Moses Leota. Again, Tans is a really good footy eye. As I said, I pointed out this before. She picks great footy players. Some of them, obviously, Supercoach-wise, they have ability, but they don't have upside Supercoach-wise to get those high scores due to, obviously, you know, James Fisher-Harris probably averages that 40 to 50 minute range. PPM is 1 per minute, so he's probably going to stick at that 50. You'll probably see. I don't see any uptick there. Stefano, it's really a wait and see if the Melbourne Storm can change him for the future to get him to push into those realms. But we've seen him in big minute roles for the Tigers, and he stayed around that 40 to 50 average. So I would be looking at maybe getting a Tino in, and then maybe some cheapies there, as in Corey Horsburgh and Nafahu White. Players like that.
Yeah. The fronties, look, 4 great players that are dominant in their teams. Don't get me wrong. But Supercoach wise, your fronties don't bank you a lot of points. Even the best of the best fronties don't bank you a lot of points, short of like Payne Haas. But Payne Haas plays 60 to 80 minutes. Same with Paddy Carrigan. So you either need to go a big minute player in the front row, or you need to pick a lock that has the dual position in the front rows like your Ruben Cotter did last year and stuff like that, because you know they're going to play nearly 80 and score really well because they're not really a front rower. They're locks playing, but you can pick them in your front row. Other than that, you're better off going a bit cheaper in your front row, knowing that they're going to score roughly the same and investing that money elsewhere.
Yeah, a good way to think about with front rowers is minutes. You want to see decent minutes, but you want to see PPMs over those minutes, right? So they're usually base stat killers. We continue to say base stat, but you know, if their PPMs 1 per minute and they play 40 minutes per game, they're going to average 40. If they average 60 minutes per game, they're going to average 60 points. So when you get Payne Haas of the world, see Terrell Mays of the world, that's got attacking upside, but he's offloading. Tino Fa'asul Malaawi plays a decent minute role there. He's got offloading stats as well. So offload, you get decent points as well for that. It's an attacking stat. So those are the front rows you should be looking at, not more so your defensive pluggers that get in there, do a ton of work and play 40 minutes and then pull them off. So that's the way you look at it. And as Brody said before, I don't like to have a ton of money in my front rows to start the season. I think that's the best way you can kind of cheap out and like play players in other positions, bigger players. So I could see you maybe moving on and getting an extra couple of 100K out of these boys here if you move to a obviously Corey Horsburgh, Nafahu White, Royce Hunt if you want to go there, or you know, even some other juniors that are coming through at bottom dollar. You can move that to your halfbacks and stuff and build up your halfback from there.
100%. Just remember, you don't need to have all 20 or 25 players, whatever it is, playing. You know, you just invest and have guys that are floating around that 18th, 19th man that are bottom dollar cheaps, just to build you some cash, you know, because you can only select 4 reserves each week. You got to remember that. You're going to have too many guys there and you're going to struggle to pick who you want to actually use as your reserves if you've got too many guys playing and scoring.
Yep. And lastly, with the hooker role, we got Mitch Kenny and Phoenix Crossland. I'll touch on Mitch Kenny first of all, because it kind of is a broken record sort of thing. Amazing player, great defensive style of hooker, but attacking stats aren't really there for him. So I would look at, you know, obviously at that 400K range, you could probably push up to that 500K range, get a Connor Watson. You get, as you said, you got Blake Brayley in your side. I think he's 500, around that 500K range, right? Or 600?
Yeah.
You could probably push there. I like Phoenix Crossland there, and by the looks of it, he stole that starting hooker role coming to this year, and Brayley's being pushed out of the club by the sounds of it. So maybe long minutes there for Crossland. He's got attacking upside where he loves to run the footy out of dummy half. So there's ability there for 341k and a halfback duel. So there is a possibility there that you could go Crossland and maybe Sanders Smith if you want to cheap out, or go a big hooker and Phoenix Crossland there. I like Phoenix Crossland. Actually.
Yeah. You banged it on the nails there. It's either you go all in with somebody instead of Kenny, or you run Crossland as your main and run a cheapie, especially at the start of the season with hookers, because they might take a while to warm up on their points as well. They'll mostly be defensively based games at the start of the season because defenses are normally pretty tight at the start of years. There's not much room for them to work through the middle.
Yeah. So overall, my tip for you, Tans, again, my humble tip, obviously, as I continue to say, we're not professionals. So if you want to play Supercoach this way, have fun. That's the biggest thing about this game. But for me, I try to get in either Nathan Cleary, Tommy Trbojevic. I'm going to be saying this more than anything. Tommy Trbojevic, Kalen Pongers of the world, like top scorers like that. And you can find them in ranges with like cheaping out on front rowers, players like that aren't going to score high points. Fullback score high, halfback score high. Everything else you can kind of filter around. Usually second rowers go next, but yeah, and center wings.
Yeah, 100%.
Beautiful, Tans. Well done too, Tans, for being a first time. I'm pretty sure she's a first time player as well. So the first time players, man, they're starting off unreal at the moment. And moving over here to Jose's squad, and where is it? There we go. They have a start of Jose's squad here. So here he has got Tane Tuapiki in that fullback role, Jermaine Asako in the flex, and Latrell Mitchell in the reserves. Obviously, he is switching Latrell Mitchell out. Jose here, just FYI, I switched out Latrell Mitchell for Reece Walsh, and I swapped Ben Tekorda for Griffin Neem. So continue. We'll talk about it here. Tane Tuapiki is the first option I'll be looking at moving on for me. Playing on the wing for the Warriors, he probably won't get through a ton of the try assist ability. There's a lot of other fullbacks you have in that position that could score higher. And the flex Jermaine Asako, I could see it working because Jermaine can get up to those big 70s, 80s. He can get up to those 100 averages and stuff like that. But it's definitely a risk. It's really dependent on whether the Dolphins can get him back firing on that wing and get him a lot of ball. That's just for me.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Tane Tuapiki is still unknown, especially on the wing. Asako and flex, though, yeah, I can see the upside. But again, we're going to be banging on. Same thing. Like flex needs to probably be your best player in the team, potentially.
Yeah, I definitely bank on looking at if you are going Nico Hines and Nathan Cleary in the halfbacks, you can go another halfback there. Or if you got let's say go look at Tommy Turbo, Kalen Ponga, Reece Walsh, even Dylan Edwards as SC Warrior. Dylan Edwards could be an option there this year as well. With Luai missing, maybe he takes a bigger role in the side there as well. But yeah, those are the guys you should be looking at Supercoach wise because they got a high ceiling. But I like where your head's at. Obviously, you got a good footy mind. I think that's what you're seeing with a lot of people. There's a lot of good footy names here.
100%.
But Supercoach wise, it's just a little bit of a different story.
It is.
Moving over to the center wing. I'm going to see if it is that one. That's your front row. And that's the bottom of your center wing. So I just cut off the photo here. So we'll start off. We got Robert Toya, Jesse Arthurs, Greg Marju. And I'll switch over. And the last one I see here, Connor Tracy in the center wings. We got Blaze Talangi, Ali Leotoa, and... Oh, sorry, guys. Don't be looking at Paramount Plus. And Jackson Purdue for your center wings. So love Greg Marju. Ability to get back up to that 700, 800K range. He can average that 50 to 60. Can get up to 70s. So definitely keep an eye out for him. Jesse Arthurs, I understand it. Looks fit in the preseason and that 314K, 41K, still a little bit of a risk there, but he's definitely got ability. Robert Toya, cheapie, definitely banking on him holding on that center position. So yeah, what's your thoughts there?
Yeah, I love Arthurs. Arthurs is a no-brainer. Robert Toya, if he gets the nod, that's great. Same with Jackson Purdue. I like those guys. Marju, yeah, it's pretty solid. 5'13", has the ability to go through the roof. Who's that Warriors player on the bench, bro?
Ali Leotoa, so he's our center that killed it in the trials.
Yeah,
so
look, ability is definitely there, and 5'13", it's a bit of a risk, but it's definitely worth it, especially if you've already got what you're pretty happy with in other positions. Blaze Tuolangi for me is more of a risk than
definitely.
probably the Waz player. And Connor Tracy with the duel at 587 in the centers. Oh, look, again, he's base stat killer. And if he snags a try, he's getting high 80s. So I like it and I do see it. And he bases his game on support plays for those tries. And, you know, we can pour them on as well. And hopefully our attack goes to another level. And I think that could be a really good Supercoach pick.
Yeah, definitely. Blaze Talangi, you could probably look at Isaac Tungo or something like that in the center wings that has the ability to get up there to those 60s and 70s again, playing outside of Nathan Cleary. If you're thinking about the Panthers this season, more than likely they're going to really rely on Nathan Cleary. So that's the right-hand side. If they got Isaac Tungo punched out back on that right-hand side where he was last year, he's probably going to get a lot more ball on that side. Blaze Talangi is probably going to be second fiddle. And if he doesn't start the season too well, defensively has issues. You got Jack Cole and all that waiting in that 5'8" role that could steal it too. So definitely a little bit of a risk there. But if you're willing to take the risk, let me feel free, have fun with it. But for me, you got other players there that can fill out that role and cheapies that can. Yeah, exactly. Casey McLean's definitely a big one for the Panthers. I like it around that range as well. Moving over to your 5'8s, we got Luke Metcalf and Jaden Sullivan. Obviously, Bud Sullivan may be looking at getting the 6th jersey to start the season for the Rabbitohs, but you know that Cody Walker is going to come back in that 6th jersey, so I don't love that move there. Luke Metcalf, absolutely love it. I think we all do. So just that other 6, I think everyone's obviously going to be trying to find a 6 in that position. 480K, if you're able to free up cash with a Blaze Talangi, move on and maybe boost him up to, you got Lockie Galvins at 600. You got, as you said, I think Tom Dearden at 5. What's that, Bat Burton, 580? I'm pretty sure.
580, yeah, he's up there as well. But yeah, affordable. Sullivan, too much risk at 480 that he's not even going to get a game.
Definitely. Moving over to your halfbacks, Dylan Brown and Sanders Smith. If honestly, bro, I'd move Dylan Brown to 5'8" if you're willing to go Dylan Brown. I would cheap out from Dylan Brown this season, as Brody pointed out as well. You know, he looked great in the trial, so I can see why you went that. But as a halfback, I would look at Nathan Cleary, as we continue to say, Nico Hines. But Sanders Smith there, definitely see why Sanders Smith there is a cheapie. Dylan Brown, for me, if you want to do that, push him down to that 5'8" and see if you can find money somewhere to get either Nathan Cleary or someone else at that ilk. Yeah.
Look, if you want to run Brown at 5'8", I go ahead, trade him out. Sullivan and probably Blaze, in my opinion. Run Dylan Brown at 5'8", and that'll free you up enough cash to still get a solid halfback, and Sanders Smith is solid.
Beautiful. Moving over to your forward pack here. Just obviously between 2 pages. So does Laban get in that other page? He does. All right, beautiful. I get to see it. So second row forwards, you got Keon Galon-Matangi. As we said before, love that move. Cam McInnes, you love that move. I was like, there is risk there, but he's a base stat killer, so he's going to stay there. So if you want to have someone that just plugs away 50s per game, definitely 100% for sure.
Yeah, he's the same as Ruben Cotter, so I can't knock that move there. But, you know, he's probably better than Cotter this year on Supercoach, just the fact that he's dual. You know, he's got more upside than Cotter at this point. But hopefully Cotter does get that front row duel again.
And he's banking on, obviously, Sharky's having a great year, which like I could definitely
100%.
see happening as well, right? Jacob Laban being there, obviously it's a big watch of Jacob Laban if he even gets a starting role or a starting 17 role. If for me, I'd probably look at pushing Connor Watson to your starting side and keeping Laban on the bench if you want to move around. But you got a lot of other cheapies here too that you could probably move around. Keep an eye out. As we said, cheapies in the second row, we got Charlie Geimer, Jack Joseski, that looks like he's got a starting role for the Broncos this year, stealing Pierre Corder's starting role. What other cheapies we got here? If you're willing to go Corey Horsburgh in that role there too, you got Corey Horsburgh. Let me get up Supercoach. What do you reckon, bro?
Yeah, look, if Laban plays, by all means, he'll score well enough. You know, Sifakola is also another option there in the back row, who is probably more than likely going to get the nod over Halasima, and he's not much more expensive. I don't think I think they're actually the same price.
Yeah, Vaimoranga, 232K, and so is Halasima. So
yeah, so the same there. Yeah, that's probably more so where I'll be going there, just so that way they are gonna at least have a game, and you've got somebody there that, if you do need them for whatever reason to chuck them as a reserve, or that will make you some cash and no risk at all.
Yeah. And if you want another option to swing out there as well, as I said, CY Wong, it looks like he might be getting that 13 role this year for the Roosters. Keep an eye on that for obviously teamless and stuff. But if he gets a big role with the Roosters with the amount of minutes, obviously Terrell May, Hardgraves and all that left, obviously Nafahu White should get a decent amount of those minutes as well. He could be a good play there at 300K. So he's like classified cheapy as well. So you can definitely play that there. Front rowers. We got Adam Fanua-Blake, Terrell May. There's a lot of money here, but like I say, Adam Fanua-Blake, bro, that's a big play there. Adam Fanua-Blake, Terrell May, Leo Thompson, and Ben Tekorda. As I continue to say, it looks like you've got a great footy mind. You know players that play really well. Adam Fanua-Blake is at big dollars on Supercoach right now. If you're willing to pay upwards of that for your front rowers, I like to use that money elsewhere and build up to my front row. But I don't hate the play if you're willing to play it that way. I've seen people do that before. So very similar as other teams.
Looking fit as well. Like he's going to go up to at least start. So you're not going to lose money on ads. Let's be real. So he's not a bad option if you want a set and forget point maker at your fronties. You know he's going to average 70 plus. Leo Thompson, he's probably in for a good year, and I do like him at that price. If you're happy with everybody else in your team, but again, I'm prioritizing, that spine and fullback. So if I needed to free up cash, I would trade out Thompson to get that extra 100K up. But other than that, I like him. I'd rather keep him over Terrell May, and Ben Tekorda is a great shout.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it looks like Ben Tekorda might get a better role, and it looks like he's developed a lot better over the offseason. He's got a nice tip-on play late in the line. For such a big body, with obviously a lot of defenders will be looking at him. I can see like him being like that Thomas Hazelton type, had that late tip-on and be getting try assists and stuff like that through that area. He's a big body, can find the try line as well. So he's got ability, if he gets a decent role there for the Broncos off the bench for a 30-minute play, he could definitely make cash depending on his PPM. I think he's like a 1 PPM as well. So it's minutes dependent there. The only thing that worries me about ads this year of averaging 70, he's got the ability if he plays the minutes and obviously the try scoring ability, all that sort of stuff. The Sharkies, whether they're going to be like the Warriors, we played him for 60, 70. Is he going to have that? I'm not too sure. He could play for that still. But with the Sharks having a 4-forward bench more than likely, he could play 50s to 60. So he might be a 60 plug early. And later on in the season, he might open up minutes-wise, and that's when you start seeing his Supercoach scores. So definitely great ability, and he'll probably still score very well, but that's just the only thing I'm thinking of with ads where I'm like, there is a tiny bit of risk there. It's the tiniest bit, but there's something to talk about.
Yeah, 100% right, brother. Unless they're better quality minutes, but I don't see that either. I think you're 100% right on the money there.
Yeah, 100%. And moving over to your hooker pairing, I enjoyed the little play there of Phoenix Crossland in that starting hooker role. If he is going to lock that down, big minutes there. Sammy Healy is definitely the one to watch out for the Warriors. It's not promised that he's going to get that role on the bench. I'd be looking at I'm pretty sure you got Sanders Smith in your halfback role. He could play in that role there. As we touched on before, we got Corey Pakes getting a starting role with the Broncos, so 232K there. Those are the options I'll be looking at for cheapy hookers. You got Mamazilis as well, if you want to go an 80-minute sort of hooker there with the Rabbitohs, if you're keen on him. But yeah, they're your options there too.
Yeah, he's a cheapie as well, so that's a good price increase straight away.
Beautiful, bro. Anything more to add there for Jose's side?
Nah, pretty solid. Really think about, investing a lot of money into your spine.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Now, as I continue to say, it shows that everyone's got great footy minds at the moment. And I think the amount of footy that's on, we get to see it at KO, we get to see every game. The amount of social media around Supercoach. Everyone's a good Supercoach player at the moment. But these are the little moves that take good Supercoaches, the better Supercoaches. Just keep an eye on, as we continue to say, the best tips you can have players that have high ceiling, that scored amazing from years past, consistently have done. I know a lot of people are new to Supercoach, but Nathan Cleary has been a plug and play for the last, how many years? He's going to average 70, 80, 90s. Tommy Trbojevic, he has the ability to go over that 1.1 million mark. He could average 100. So he's one of the best Supercoach players to have. So keep an eye on that. Fullbacks, halfbacks, start with them and then build your team around that. That's the best tip I have.
No, well, that's pretty much sums it up, brother. And it's as simple as that. I've lost my chain of thought on what I was going to say, to be honest. I had something better. But yeah, that's 100% right. It's you'll learn. And that's what it is you only got a certain amount of trades as well. So you don't want to have too many guys that you got decent money invested in, like 340, 380, 430s. You kind of want like 3, maybe 4 of those on your bench, and then the rest being like bottom dollar cheapies that might be playing, just because that's money sitting there that you're going to have to use a couple of trades up to get that money back out of them, as opposed to having that tied up in your main 17, because you are limited to trades each year as well. So that's something you do need to be wary of.
Yeah, keep an eye out, guys. Make sure, just continue. If you want to watch every week, we're going to have a Thursday show where we just talk Supercoach. We're just having fun with it. And also, guys, like at the end of the day, we give you all these tips and all that. We say all this about the sides, but Supercoach is all about fun. So have fun.
100%.
If you've got certain players you want to watch, just put them in your side, have some fun, watch it and see how far they go. We may be wrong. You never know. It could be
I hope you prove us wrong.
Exactly. It could be one of those years that one of those players just absolutely kills it and becomes the Supercoach gun that no one's seen before. I've seen that happen before multiple times. It could happen again. Who knows? But have some fun with it. But those are the tips that we got for you guys. And I think that'll be pretty much us for tonight, brother. It's been a solid show. Obviously, me running away and trying to do plumbing work on my freaking washing machine. So I'll be back to doing that after the stream. But thank you, Brody, again, as always.
No worries. I'm straight to get some dinner for the missus who's in the middle of painting, and I've got to go pick up a paintbrush to help out.
Love it. Love it. Beautiful house renos, baby.
I got to love it.
Gotta love it. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. As always, appreciate you. Make sure you tune in next week. We got the Wednesday show, obviously Down Unders, as we see right now. We got the Thursday show, the Lockout show, which is going to be more than likely with the Las Vegas team list. So there's a lot more idea on how teams are going to run out there with, and we'll talk about the trials as well. So guys, get excited and make sure you like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. Thank you so much. Take it easy.
Until next week. Peace.